respected dignitaries, faculty members, and dear students. It is my privilege to welcome you to the National Conclave on Sustainable Energy in Sanatan Bharat, Roadmap for Viksit Bharat 2047, convened by the Center for Sustainable Energy at IIT Roorkee. Today, we gather here to bring the timeless wisdom of ancient Indian practices with cutting-edge innovations, crafting a clear pathway towards a developed carbon-neutral India by 2047. Over the next session, we will hear from leading policy makers, industry practitioners, academicians, and environmentalists. With this, I request all the dignitaries to kindly take their seats on stage. To kindly present a memento to our Chief Guest, Mrs. Ritu Khanduri, Honorable Speaker, Uttarakhand Legislative Assembly. Now I request Professor Samitra Satpathy to present a memento to our guest of honor, Mr. Shamveer Saini, Minister of State, Uttarakhand. I would request Professor Samitra Satpathy again to kindly present a memento to Mr. Pradeep Batra, MLA. I would request Professor Samitra Satpathy to kindly facilitate Professor U.P. Singh, Deputy Director, with a bouquet. With this, I request all our guests to kindly commemorate the ceremony by lighting the lamp. Now I request everyone to rise and embrace the spirit of our holy.
जयति जयति वेदा संस्थान जयति जयति वेदा संस्थान हिंदी शंभु से अभिनंद गंगा जल करते कल्याण जयति जयति वेदा संस्थान जयति जयति वेदा संस्थान शिक्षा आदर्शों में उन्नत जीवन सेतु बांध भूखंड जुड़ाकर जन जीवन प्रासाद उठाकर सेतु बांध भूखंड जुड़ाकर शंभु से अभिनंदित गंगा जल करते कल्याण जयति जयति वेद्या संस्थान जयति जयति वेद्या संस्थान जयति जयति वेद्या संस्थान जयति जयति वेद्या संस्थान.
Now I invite Professor Soumitra Saraswati, Head Center for Sustainable Energy, to open the ceremony.
Very good morning to all of you. Srimati Ritu Khandvi, Honorable Speaker, Uttarakhand Vidhan Sabha and Chief Guest of today's program. Sri Sanvi Saini, Vice Chairman, Minister of State, Sugarcane and Sugar Industry Development Advisory Committee, Uttarakhand, and Guest of Honors of today's program. Sri Pradeep Batraji, Guest of Honor, MLA Roorkee, Dr. Muthu, all the distinguished guests and students of and on the dais. On behalf of Center for Sustainable Energy and on my personal behalf, I like to welcome you all on this one-day national conclave on sustainable energy in Sanatan Bharat, roadmap for Viksit Bharat at 2047. As you know, Honorable Prime Minister has set up a goal of achieving sustainable development by 2047 and set up an example by improving the different spheres of sustainable development indexes. This is also with the country's ambitious vision on Viksit Bharat at 2047. The vision promotes the adaptation of green technologies, renewable energy sources and eco-friendly practices across industries, which is one of the sustainable development goals. Although we are discussing about the sustainable development and sustainable energy in today's world, in Sanatan Bharat, we have a tradition of protecting the environment and concept of building the nature and sustainability. Most ancient texts in India, including the Vedas, teaches us that the dharma of everyone is to protect the nature. Mata Bhumi Putradam Pritha, Earth is my mother and I am her son. This Sanskrit sloka indicates the relationship of human with the earth. This is why people have always worshipped the nature. It is important to gain the knowledge from Sanatan Bharat's sustainability practices to successfully implement the present day's United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. This conclave of sustainable development goals in Sanatan Bharat, what we can learn, will establish a knowledge platform and a knowledge sharing platform on key issues of the climate change and environmental protection, which is one of the SDG goals, SDG 7, and what we can learn from the traditional Indian culture and how that still valid and implemented for making a developed India. This will sensitize the young students and community about key challenges of achieving sustainable development in sectors of energy, water and food, and how we can build up a Viksit Bharat at 2047. I welcome you all to this beautiful campus of the IIT Roorkee, and I would like to thank you for coming all the way and attending today's program. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Professor U.P. Singh, Deputy Director, IIT Roorkee, to come and say a few words.
A very good morning to all of you. On behalf of our Director, Professor K.K. Pal, IIT Roorkee, all my faculty colleagues, staff, students, and on my own behalf, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome the chief guest of the function, Srimati Ritu Khandvi, Honorable Speaker, Uttarakhand Vidhan Sabha. I would like to express the heartfelt thanks to her for sparing time from her busy schedule to be here in IIT Roorkee and to grace this occasion as a chief guest. A very warm welcome to our chief, to our guest of honors, Shri Sanatan Bharat, Minister of the State Uttarakhand, Pradeep Batra ji, Vidhayak, Roorkee, and Dr. Madhu, President BJP Haridwar District. Welcome to all the panelists, delegates, participants, members of the press personnel from industry, our dear students and the audience present in this hall. It is both an honor and privilege to stand before you today at this significant sustainability conclave. As we gather here, we are not just participating in the conclave, which aptly titled Sustainable Energy in Sanatan Bharat, Roadmap or Viksit Bharat 2047. We are engaging in a collective effort to secure a better, more sustainable future for the generation to come. As we move towards the vision of the Viksit Bharat in 2047, a prosperous, developed India, it is vital to understand that this vision is not just about economic growth, technology, or infrastructure. It is about building a sustainable future where our energy system are aligned with the value that have been a part of Sanatan Bharat for thousands of years. Our ancestors lived in harmony with nature, recognizing that the environment is both our sustenance and our responsibility. The wisdom of Sanatan Bharat, rooted in the Vedic tradition, always emphasized a symbiotic relationship with nature. The concept of ahimsa, of non-violence, extended not just to human but to all living beings and the environments. The principles of balance, the respect of earth, and the nature of life and resources are embedded in our cultural fabrics. In this ancient wisdom that can guide us as we enable on a journey towards Viksit Bharat, a developed India that integrates about modern advancement with the timeless value of sustainability. As we envision a Viksit Bharat in 2047, our energy needs will be multifaceted. Energy is the lifeblood of development. It powers our industry, sustains our homes, fuel transportation, and drive technology. However, as we progress, we must ensure that our energy sources do not harm the planet or deplete the resources available to future generations. In 2047, we must look to a future where clean, renewable, and sustainable energy sources drive our economy. I am sure that today's deliberation will bring forth a roadmap for achieving a sustainable energy future for India. As we reflect on the roadmap to Viksit Bharat in 2047, let us remember that this journey is not just economic growth, but about harmonizing our development with the Earth's natural rhythms. The energy we use be pure and sustainable as the ideals of Sanatan Bharat, rooted in respect for nature, harmony with the environment, and a commitment to the future generation. We are hopeful that in 2047, India will not only be a developed nation, but also signing, or you can say a shining example of how a nation can thrive while safeguarding the planet. Together, let us promise that we will create a future that blends the wisdom of our past with the innovation of the future, a truly Viksit Bharat. Jai Hind, Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. It is my pleasure now to introduce our guest of honor, Mr. Shyamveer Saini, Minister of State, renowned for his work in rural development and youth empowerment, with a background in academia as a former staff member at IIT Roorkee and deep roots in community service. He brings a pragmatic vision that bridges India's rich traditions with forward-looking governance. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Shyamveer Saini. I request him to kindly share a few words.
IIT रुड़की के अपने इस सस्टेनेबल एनर्जी डिपार्टमेंट द्वारा आयोजित इस कॉन्फ्रेंस में हमारी चीफ गेस्ट और देवभूमि उत्तराखंड की सम्मानित विधानसभा अध्यक्षा बहन तनूरी जी, यहाँ के डिप्टी डायरेक्टर प्रोफेसर यूपी सिंह जी और हमारे सम्मानित यहाँ के विधायक भाई प्रदीप बत्रा जी, हमारी सम्मानित जिला अध्यक्षा डॉक्टर मधु सिंह जी, और जो इसके आयोजक हैं, संयोजक हैं, ऐसे भाई हमारे प्रोफेसर सौमित्रा सतपति जी, मेरे सामने बैठे हुए सभी सम्मानित प्रोफेसर, वैज्ञानिक, साइंटिस्ट, स्टूडेंट्स। अभी जो बताया गया है, हमारा देश पहले क्या था और आज क्या है, यानी कि हम क्या थे, क्या हो गए और क्या होंगे अभी। आओ विचारे आज मिलकर ये समस्याएं सभी। हम विश्व में नंबर 1 पे थे, देश सोने की चिड़िया था। शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में विदेश के विद्यार्थी यहाँ शिक्षा ग्रहण करने आते थे, लेकिन हमारी कुछ गलतियों और कमियों की वजह से 1000 साल तक हम गुलाम रहे, हमको लूटा और इतनी धन संपदा लूटी कि दुनिया का नंबर 1 देश था। 1947 में हम आजाद हुए और उसके बाद 60, 65, 70 साल तक वही धंधा चलता रहा, लूट का। लेकिन पिछले भी 10-15 सालों में आपने देखा होगा, जो भारत बहुत पीछे था, वो 5वीं अर्थव्यवस्था में इसमें आ गया है और 5 से अभी बहुत जल्दी ही, जैसे आपने आएंगे, आपको 3री अर्थव्यवस्था में भारत का दिखेगा नाम। और बंधुओं, हमारे जो केंद्र की टीम है, हमारे गडकरी जी, अमित शाह जी, राजनाथ जी, धामी जी, बहन रीतू जी नहीं, इसमें मंच से लेकर सभी की जिम्मेवारी है। सभी हम मिलकर इस देश को नंबर 1 ले जाएंगे। और आज ये बड़े सौभाग्य का है कि वास्तव में जब विकसित भारत होगा तो उस समय हमारी जो ऊर्जा है, इसकी बहुत बड़ी आवश्यकता होगी। आज ये माइक, ये सारे फैन, ये सब नेटवर्क अगर है तो ये केवल एनर्जी से है और एनर्जी की सबसे बड़ी आवश्यकता है। अगर बिजली कम होगी तो हमारे सारे काम धंधे बंद हो जाएंगे, चाहे वो एग्रीकल्चर के हो, चाहे वो डेवलपमेंट के हो, इंडस्ट्री के हो। इन सभी कामों को करने के लिए एनर्जी, और मैं साधुवाद देता हूं भाई सतपति जी को और हमारे डायरेक्टर साहब को कि इन्होंने जो आने वाली देश की भारी जरूरत है, बहुत अत्यंत, उसके लिए अभी से इन्होंने ने चिंता शुरू कर दी और हमारा पूरा जो डिपार्टमेंट है ये जो है इसमें सतपति जी से लेके अरैना जी वीसी श्रीवास्तव जी सब बधाई के पात्र हैं। आप सब इसमें लगे हैं। बंधुओं, इस देश को पहले अमेरिका ये बोलता था कि हम इसलिए सुपर हैं क्योंकि हमारी कनेक्टिविटी सुपर है, हमारा रोड ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, हमारा रेल, एयर और ये सारा जो है ये हमारा सुपर है। लेकिन आज हम हिंदुस्तान में भी किसी से कम नहीं है। पिछले 10-12 वर्षों के अंदर इतना तेजी से विकास हुआ है। जहां हम हरिद्वार रोड से दिल्ली में जाने के लिए 5-7 घंटे लगते थे, जाम में फंस जाते थे, आज 2.5 घंटे में हम यहाँ से हरिद्वार से और दिल्ली 2.5 घंटे में। बंधुओं, ऐसा हमारा नेटवर्क बनने जा रहा है कि डायरेक्ट दिल्ली से देहरादून 2 घंटे में हम जाएंगे जो है, ऐसे एलिवेटेड रोड बनने हैं। तो इसलिए पूरी दुनिया हमारी तरफ देख रही है। हमारे देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो 24 घंटे काम करता है, पता भी नहीं लगता, उसने इस देश को पूरी तरह नंबर 1 पे लाने के लिए पूरी अपनी शक्ति लगा दी और उस सभी कामों में हम सबका सहयोग रहे। इन्हीं की बात मैं आपसे करने आया हूं। केवल एक आदमी के करने से नहीं होगा, सबके करने से काम होगा। और मैं बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूं इस देवभूमि उत्तराखंड के द्वार जनपद हरिद्वार शिक्षा की नगरी और इसके सेंटर में शिक्षा की नगरी के जो IIT रुड़की है, इस रुड़की विश्वविद्यालय जो थॉमसन कॉलेज से कभी शुरू हुआ था और फिर ये रुड़की विश्वविद्यालय हुआ आजादी के बाद, वेंचर्स के बाद, और आज ये IIT है। इसने हमारे रुड़की का, हमारे प्रदेश का नाम रोशन किया। और आप सभी वैज्ञानिक, प्रोफेसर और सभी हमारे जो स्टूडेंट हैं, मैं बधाई देता हूं कि आने वाली एनर्जी की इस एक आवश्यकता को ध्यान में रखते हुए काम करेंगे और ये पूरा देश का विकास होगा। हमारे IIT का नहीं, हमारे रुड़की का, प्रदेश का नाम रोशन होगा। आप सबने हमारी सम्मानित अध्यक्षा और जिनके बारे में सुना जाता है कि जब अटल जी प्रधानमंत्री बने तो उन्हें एक अदद रोड ट्रांसपोर्टेशन मिनिस्टर की जरूरत थी, ईमानदार की, और उन्होंने जब किया तो जनरल खंडूरी जी रिटायर होने के बाद आए और उन्हें एकदम पकड़ा और ऐसा बड़ा मंत्रालय दे दिया। बंधुओं, जिससे आप देखो जो ये कॉरिडोर बने थे और ये बड़ी-बड़ी रोडें बननी शुरू हुई थी, बीच में 10 साल उसमें थोड़ा सा रात रहा, उसके बाद फिर बननी शुरू हो गई है। ऐसे हमारे जनरल खंडूरी जी की बहुत ही योग्य, इंटेलिजेंट ऐसी आप सबने बुलाई है। मैं आपका हृदय से आभारी हूं। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Thank you, sir. Now I request Mr. Viksit Bharat, MLA Roorkee, to say a few words.
Today's program begins Honorable Speaker President, Vidhan Sabha Uttrakhand, Mr. Khinduri ji, District President Dr. Madhu Singh ji, State Minister Shamir Saini ji, Deputy Director UB Singh ji, Organizer of the program Professor Samastya, और यहाँ पर उपस्थित सभी मेरे स्टूडेंट्स और हमारे पार्टी के सभी पदाधिकारी हैं। आज का टॉपिक प्रोग्राम का विकसित भारत 2047, ये टॉपिक, ये स्लोगन हमारे प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने हम सबको दिया है और मैं समझता हूँ कि हमारा सबका फर्ज बनता है, कर्तव्य बनता है कि हम इसको फॉलो करें और इस लक्ष्य को पूरा करें और जो मिशन एक ये गोल जो हमें मिला है इसकी और हम लोग बढ़े। और मैं समझता हूँ जब किसी का गोल निर्धारित कर दिया जाता है, लक्ष्य हमें सामने नजर आने लगता है तो उसको पूरा करना आसान होता है और फिर हम लोग सभी बढ़ते हैं। तो हम सबकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी की हम लोग विकसित भारत की ओर बढ़े। पर ये विकसित भारत सिर्फ नाम से और सिर्फ कहने से नहीं बनेगा। जब तक हम सब लोग इसकी जिम्मेदारी नहीं लेंगे और अपने एक मैसेज नहीं देंगे तब तक विकसित भारत नहीं बनेगा। चाहे वो कमरे से बाहर निकलते हुए बिजली बंद करना हो, बिजली बचाना हो, चाहे पानी बचाना हो, छोटी छोटी चीज़ें, चाहे सौर ऊर्जा की ओर जाना हो हमें, और वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग से हमें रेन वाटर को सेव करना हो, ये छोटी छोटी बातें सबसे विकसित भारत बनेगा। पहले भारत को हमें लिटरेट बनाना होगा, हर बच्चे को बनाना होगा और ये सबका कर्तव्य है कि जो बच्चे आज भी गलियों में घूम रहे हैं और भीख मांग रहे हैं उनको पढ़ाना, उनको एक अच्छी लाइन में लेके आना। जो गवर्नमेंट इतनी फैसिलिटीज दे रही है, फ्री एजुकेशन और फ्री हेल्थ और फ्री अन्न दे रही है, तो मैं बताऊँ कि ये बच्चे क्यों सड़क पे घूम रहे हैं, ये हम सबको सोचना होगा इस बारे में। आज भी आप पिछली सेंचुरी की तो कई बच्चे आप देखेंगे भीख मांग रहे हैं, कई बच्चे जो घूम रहे हैं उधर। अगर वो कहो कि आप पढ़ोगे तो मना कर देते, पढ़ने नहीं जाएंगे क्योंकि वो भीखी मांगेंगे। तो उनको समझाना सिखाना उनका क्या है, उनको गुमराह किया गया है। ये छोटी छोटी चीज़ें, सब छोटी चीज़ों को अगर हम नजरअंदाज करेंगे तो भारत विकसित कभी नहीं बनेगा। इस चीज़ों को हम लोग लेकर चल रहा हूँ, तभी ये भारत जो है 2047 का जो लक्ष्य है हमारा, जब भारत अपने 100 वर्ष पूरे करेगा आज़ादी के, तब ये भारत विकसित बनेगा और विश्वगुरु बनेगा। और हमारा भारत था भी कहीं ना कहीं हम लोग विश्वगुरु का, हम लोग के जो संस्कार है, संस्कृति है, हम लोगों ने भी पीछे छोड़ दिया। हमें अपनी पहले रूट स्ट्रॉन्ग करनी होगी, अपने इतिहास के बारे में जानना हो, तभी भविष्य अच्छा होगा। आप देखिए कि हमारा भारत जो है लगातार आगे बढ़ रहा है, इतना अच्छा नेतृत्व हमें मिला है प्रधानमंत्री मोदी का, जो भारत को आगे लेकर चल रहे हैं। स्ट्रॉन्ग युग पुरुष के रूप में मैं सकता हूँ कि अवतार के रूप में कह सकते हैं मोदी मिले, और उन्हीं की जो टीम्स है जो काम कर रही है, उसमें चाहे हमारे मुख्यमंत्री धामी जी हो, चाहे हमारी विधानसभा अध्यक्ष, सभी लोगों का एक ही लक्ष्य है कि आगे बढ़े, चले बेटी। तो इस पूर्ण साल में सोचता हूँ कि हम लोग आगे बढ़े तो निश्चित रूप से ये लक्ष्य हम लोग पूरा करेंगे। और आप सबका तो स्टूडेंट आईडी है इनका, तो आपका तो और भी ज़्यादा एक मैसेज जाना चाहिए कि जो आप आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, तो एक मैसेज जो है सोसाइटी में जाना चाहिए कि बच्चे इसमें लग गए हैं, तो हम सब लोग जब मिलकर चलेंगे तभी लक्ष्य पूरा होगा। तो मैं सोचता हूँ कि पुराना और नए को लेकर चलेंगे तभी भारत विकसित बनेगा, विकास भी और विरासत भी। डेवलपमेंट तो लगातार चल ही रहा है। अब देखिए रोड बन रही है, कनेक्टिविटी बढ़ रही है, आज रेलवे हो, चाहे रोडवेज हो, चाहे हमारी रोड्स हो, सभी आगे बढ़ रही है। पर कहने के विरासत को भी संभालना हुआ है, अपने संस्कार, अपने वेद, अपने उपनिषद, अपने जो हमारे मूल मंत्र हैं उन सबको हमें साथ लेकर चलना होगा। तो विकास को लेकर चले, विरासत को लेकर चले, और लक्ष्य प्रधानमंत्री दिया है और हम सबका लक्ष्य होना चाहिए 2047 आत्मनिर्भर भारत, विकसित भारत। तो मैं सोचता हूँ कि सब लोग इसमें एक जोश है इसको आगे बढ़ाने में और उसको पूरा करने में। तो निश्चित रूप से जो 2047 आएगा तो हम लोग डेवलप सिटी के रूप में उभरेंगे, ऐसा हमारा उद्देश्य। और आज के कार्यक्रम का उद्देश्य भी यही है कि हम लोग जो है विकसित भारत के सभी लोग मिलकर बढ़े और कदम से कदम मिलाएं और इस लक्ष्य को जो है हासिल करें। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत, जय उत्तराखंड।
Thank you, sir. It is my honor to now introduce our chief guest, Mrs. Ritu Khanduri-Bhushan, the first women speaker of Uttarakhand Legislative Assembly. Before embarking on her political journey, she served as a professor at Trinity University, bringing academic rigor to public service. First elected in 2017 and re-elected in 2022, she was unanimously chosen as speaker in March 2022. In that role, she has been a powerful voice for women's safety and environmental protection. We are privileged to have her here with us today. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Ritu Khanduri to share her thoughts.
Namaskar. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I wish there were more students in the hall. It is a very important topic. It is extremely relevant to the society, to the country today. I had hoped to see more young faces here today. Anyway, Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee, Center for Sustainable Energy is organizing Sustainable Energy in Sanatan Bharat, a roadmap for Viksit Bharat at the rate 2047. On the dais with me, Adarniya Dr. Shambir Saini ji, our young Vidhayak MLA Pradeep Batraji, our woman Jiladhyaksh from the Bharatiya Janata Party, Roorkee, Dr. Madhu Singh ji, the Deputy Director, Dr. Uday Pratap Singh, Head of the Department, Professor Samitra Satpathy ji, Dr. Vishwajit, Professor Dr. Vishwajit ji, Deputy Director, NIDES, Dr. Tanu Jain ji, Pragya Sharma, who is doing a very good job at Sanchalan here, faculty members, students, media, ladies and gentlemen. 2047 is the year we want to be a developed country. That is the vision, goal that has been given to us by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. After 100 years of independence, we hope to become a developed nation. A Bharat with eternal values. A Bharat which is inclusive in its progressiveness. A Bharat which is sustainable in its actions. So what we want to see in 2047 is a developed, all-round, properly developed Bharat. when we talk of sustainability, what do you understand by sustainable when I say sustainable? Sustainability in context of the earth or living on the earth means living in harmony with the earth. We need to understand that whatever is available on earth, whatever is being used by us on the earth, should be used in such a manner that tomorrow the next generation and the generation after that also has that availability. We have to be very careful, very sure. So sustainability basically means we need to live in harmony with the earth. The other aspect of this is when we talk about, when you will be, I think, going to the seminar in the second half of the day. I want to understand, we have to also understand economic development of the country. We cannot just say कि चीजों को बचाओ, चीजों को संभाल के रखो. Economic growth of a country is also extremely important. They will have to go hand in hand. Sustainability as well as economic growth of a country will have to go hand in hand. We need harmony. इसके लिए बहुत आवश्यक है कि समन्वय रहे. आप ये नहीं कह सकते हैं कि जी हम सिर्फ सस्टेनेबल रहेंगे लेकिन इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ देश का नहीं होगा. ऐसा नहीं चल सकता है. तो it is extremely important that we have some kind of harmony between the two things. तारतम्य बैठाने की आवश्यकता है. इसका क्या मतलब है कि आपको दोनों के बीच में समन्वय के साथ चलना है, मिडिल पाथ लेकर चलना है, बैलेंस बनाकर चलना है. हम जब ग्रीन टेक्नोलॉजी की बात करते हैं, as a common person, see, I am no scientist, I am no professor, I am no doctor. I am basically a common person who has now, of course, been part of the political system for some years, and as a human being or as a citizen of this country, have worked in various parts of the country as well as in Uttarakhand. I will talk as a common person, so nothing very scientific. What do I understand by green technology? क्या समझ में मुझे आता है जब हम ग्रीन टेक्नोलॉजी कहते हैं? तो क्या ग्रीन टेक्नोलॉजी का मतलब है कि पेड़ उगा दें? ग्रीन टेक्नोलॉजी का मतलब है कि हम पूरे अपने जो घर है उसमें हरा भरा रखें? What is it? So we will have to understand how your seminars are going to impact the people they need to impact. Do we understand what green technology is? Does the common man of this country understand? A person who is staying in remote villages of this country, do they understand what green technology is? For me, when I had to, when this subject came to me, I also had to do some reading. So basically, when I say green technology, or when we all say green technology, हमारा मानना ये है कि साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी को लेकर, इन दोनों चीजों को लेकर क्या हम एक ऐसी व्यवस्था खड़ा कर सकते हैं, कोई ऐसा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर खड़ा कर सकते हैं, कोई ऐसे प्रोडक्ट्स खड़े कर सकते हैं जो इस देश को के लिए सस्टेनेबल हो, इस धरती के लिए, इस धरती माँ जिसको माँ कहते हैं, उसको बचाने में हम किस तरह से कार्य कर सकते हैं, कैसे मेहनत कर सकते हैं, क्या ऐसी चीजें हम कर सकते हैं साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी को यूज करते हुए ताकि हम इस धरती को बचा सकें. First thing that came to my mind was that excellent step taken by the Prime Minister of this country, electric vehicles. टू-व्हीलर से शुरू हुआ. इलेक्ट्रिक जो थी वो टू-व्हीलर से शुरू हुई और हमने देखा कि ज़ोमैटो वाले और जो स्विगी वाले जो घर तक खाना पहुंचाते हैं और ये जो फ्लिपकार्ट वाले जो आते हैं घर तक, they were using these electric vehicles because उनको लगा कि ये सस्ता है. Not that किसी को इतनी चिंता थी कि पोल्यूशन रुक रहा है ऐसे, लेकिन ये था कि सस्ता है. धीरे धीरे हमने इसके बारे में पढ़ना शुरू करा. आज हमने देखा कि 4-व्हीलर्स हमको दिखते हैं, घरों में दिख रहे हैं, ऑफिसेज में दिख रहे हैं. इसके बाद the Prime Minister went a step further. He said, I will start a national electric mobility mission. National electric mobility mission. He said, I am going to give states funds so that now forget the cars, forget your scooters. I am going to go a step forward and going to see that the public transport, that is our buses, are going to be electric. It is a very big step, a major step towards green technology. अब आपकी now we see charging stations on highways, on petrol pumps, in government organizations, government spaces. So slowly things are moving, slowly things are changing. What about our roads? We all want roads. You want road, I want road, every corner of this country wants roads. And it is important because we need to connect our people. Whether it is Pradhan Mantri Gramin Sadak Yojana or whether it is these expressways, NHAI or whatever, we all want roads. But the good thing is that even the government and particularly the minister is now thinking of using materials which are already available. Plastic is being used to construct roads. Construction waste is being used for constructing roads. Another very good step. Another great step towards green technology. Thirdly, buildings. हम लोग buildings की बात करते हैं. Green building होनी चाहिए. जैसे मैंने पहले कहा, जब हमको भी शायद 8-10 साल पहले समझ ही नहीं आया green building क्या होती है. हरा हरा होता है, क्या है, केवल पेड़ पौधे होते हैं. What is green building? What do you understand by green building? So we need to tell each and everyone, green building means minimum use of cement, steel. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा आप ऐसे पदार्थों को, ऐसे प्रोडक्ट्स को, ऐसी चीज़ों को यूज करें जो कि आपके इजीली अवेलेबल है. सबसे पहली बात, इजीली अवेलेबल है. क्यों सीमेंट जानी चाहिए पहाड़ के गांव में? नहीं मिलती है वहाँ, लेकिन हम यहाँ से बोरे के बोरे उठा के ले जाते हैं. उसको ढोना मुश्किल, उसको काट ट्रांसपोर्ट करना इतना महंगा, लेकिन हम लेकर जाते हैं. पहले तो नहीं होता था. मिट्टी के घर बनते थे, पटाहल की छत होती थी या फिर वुड से छत बनती थी. So we have to understand, use material which is eco-friendly. थोड़ा सा महंगा होता है, कंस्ट्रक्शन करना महंगा होता है, लेकिन that's all right. We have to protect our country, we have to protect this earth, our mother earth. So it is important कि आप कौन सा मटेरियल यूज कर रहे हैं. क्या हम ऐसी चीज बिल्डिंग में यूज कर सकते हैं कि हमें बिजली जलाने की आवश्यकता ना हो दिन में? क्या हम कुछ ऐसा काम कर सकते हैं कि हमें एसी की आवश्यकता ना हो? हमारे तो एयर का फ्लो हो, एयर का सर्कुलेशन हो, इस तरह से हो कि हमें इस बिल्डिंग में कोई आवश्यकता नहीं हो एसी चलाने की. क्या हम ये कर सकते हैं? ये सोचने की चीजें हैं. कितनी कम बिजली खपत हम कर सकते हैं, इसको हमें सोचना होगा. तो ये कुछ चीजें हैं जो छोटी मोटी मुझे ग्रीन टेक्नोलॉजी में मुझे लगा कि मुझे आपके साथ शेयर करनी चाहिए. इसके अलावा हमारे थर्मल प्लांट्स हैं, उससे फ्लाई ऐश निकलता है, उसका प्रोडक्ट बाय प्रोडक्ट होता है फ्लाई ऐश. आज उससे हम ब्रिक्स बना रहे हैं, तो हमें उन ब्रिक्स को अपने कंस्ट्रक्शन के लिए इस्तेमाल करना चाहिए. Circular economy is another aspect or another thing which is being talked about. Please go and read about it. That means nothing is waste. कोई भी चीज वेस्ट नहीं है. हर चीज को आप किसी ना किसी चीज में आप यूज कर सकते हैं. उसको कैसे यूज करें, इसको हमें समझना होगा और देखना होगा. रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी, प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने कहा है कि आई थिंक वी नीड 500 गीगावाट्स ऑफ नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग. इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर हमको इतना बड़ा बनाना है कि हमको 500 गीगावाट तक की नॉन फॉसिल फ्यूल मिल पाए. कहां से मिलेगा? सोलर, हमारे पास सूर्य है, wind, water, biomass. These are four things which are easily available, particularly to a country like India. हमारे पास धूप भी है, हमारे पास पानी भी है, हमारे पास हवा भी है और बायोमास भी. कैसे इसको यूज कर सकते हैं? सोलर एनर्जी का हम देखते आ रहे हैं आजकल कि हम वी आर यूजिंग सोलर एनर्जी, वेदर इट इज फॉर electricity, whether it is for cooking. Similarly, how can we use wind power? बताना चाहूंगी, अभी मेरे दिमाग में भी ऐसा ही अभी आया है. आई थिंक सैली साहब जानेंगे. पंचचक्की होती थी, पानी की चक्कियां होती थी गेहूं वगैरह पीसने के लिए. उसको हम भूल गए, उसको हमने छोड़ दिया. सो क्या ऐसी चीजें हैं जिनको हमको यूज करना चाहिए? ये इतनी सारी चीजें हैं. पानी से हम कर सकते हैं, हम विंड से हो रहा है, बट वो हम आम आदमी तक कैसे पहुंचाएं इसकी चिंता करनी आवश्यक है. कमर्शियल तरीके से हो रहा है, बड़े तरीके से sounding ancient, I'm not that ancient, but yes, pretty old. As a child, when I went to my grandmother's house, जब मैं अपनी दादी के घर जाती थी, तो वहां पे जो मिट्टी का घर बना था, उसकी बड़ी बड़ी मोटी दीवार थी, उसका जो छत था वो वुड से बना था। आज भी मैं जब वहां जाती हूँ वही है, इट इज 80 years old। और उसके अंदर आप जाइए, आपको गर्म, जब आपको बाहर गर्मी है तो अंदर ठंड है, अंदर ठंड, जब बाहर ठंड है तो अंदर गर्मी। हम अपनी चीजें ये क्यों भूल गए? वो जो मकान आज भी सॉलिड है और उन्हीं चीजों से बनाया गया जो वहां पर अवेलेबल थी। कोई पौड़ी में देहरादून से सामान जाके गया या कोटद्वार से सामान नहीं पहुंचा। Whatever was available on the field, whatever was available on the ground was used to make those houses. What is it that we have missed out? Where is it that we have missed out? पानी, मेरी दादी के घर में बड़े बड़े ड्रम्स रखे रहते थे और हम लोग हंसते थे कि ये क्या रख के रखती हो, बारिश का पानी आता है भरती हो, उसके बाद कहती हो इसको टॉयलेट्स में यूज करो, इसको खेती के लिए यूज करो। We used to make fun of her कि दादी ये क्या इतने गंदे लगते हैं, सारे इतने सारे वो जो डामरीकरण वाले डब्बे होते थे वो कहीं कहीं से बड़े बड़े टिन उठा के वो बड़े बड़े ड्रम्स। But now I realize what she was doing. I realize that कि वो पानी का रिसाइकल, आज हम रिसाइकल वाटर हार्वेस्टिंग, ये तो हमारे संस्कारों में है, ये तो हमारे सनातन भारत में है। हम क्यों नहीं उस चीज को देख रहे, क्यों नहीं समझ रहे हैं? वेस्ट, आज आप किसी भी शहर के बाहर जाइए, सबसे पहले एंट्री पर आपको कूड़े के ढेर मिलते हैं। मैंने तो अपने बचपन में कभी भी कूड़े के ढेर नहीं देखे, कभी नहीं देखे। क्या उस वक्त लोग नहीं कहते थे? क्या उस वक्त कूड़ा जनरेट नहीं होता था? होता था, लेकिन वो कूड़ा जाता था जगह। किचन का कूड़ा एक जगह जाता था, जो कांच टूटे हैं या कुछ और तरह का कूड़ा वो एक जगह जाता था, कुछ नहीं जलाया जाता था। वर्मी कंपोस्ट बनती थी और फिर वही कंपोस्ट आपकी यूज होती थी खेती में। उपले, काउ डंग, cow urine, patent, when America does patent, then we start saying, wow, lovely, fabulous, yes, we should go back to turmeric, we should go back to haldi, ginger, cow dung, cow urine. सनातन भारत में तो ये है भाई, cow dung से आपकी पूरी खेती होती। cow urine आपके लिए कुछ जिस तरह के पेस्टिसाइड का आपको जरूरत पड़ती है, उस वक्त पेस्टिसाइड की कोई जरूरत नहीं होती थी। This was easily available in सनातन भारत। कपड़े, बैम्बू, जूट, कॉटन, आपको पता नहीं किसी को होगा, सेमल होता था। सेमल के पेड़ अब कम दिखते हैं। उस सेमल की रुई के पीछे हम लोग बचपन में खूब दौड़ते थे और खूब कलेक्ट करते थे। उससे ज्यादा सॉफ्ट तकिया आपको कभी नहीं मिलेगा, इतना सुंदर, इतना अच्छा। हम भूल गए। आज एक साड़ी, कल दूसरी साड़ी, परसों चौथी साड़ी, फिर इसको फेंक दो, उसको ले लो। We will have to realize what we are doing. Extremely important. Be very careful of what you are doing. You have to, ये एक संस्कार आपके अंदर डेवलप होना पड़ेगा। We cannot laugh it out. We cannot push it aside. We will have to understand. अगर मेरा एक चप्पल से काम चल सकता है तो हम एक ही रखें। जब गंगोत्री से आप गौमुख से नीचे उतर, आप गौमुख जाइए किसी दिन, आपको वहां माउंटेन्स एंड माउंटेन्स ऑफ ओल्ड क्लॉथ कपड़े मिलते हैं। क्योंकि सोच नहीं बदलनी है, कपड़े छोड़ के नए कपड़े पहन के आना। सोच थोड़ी बदलनी है, समझ थोड़ी बदलनी है। So we have to really be very very careful of what we are doing. If you look at पुराने समय के सारी civilization, उस समय आप देखिए किस तरह की बाउलियां होती थी, किस तरह से एयर कंडीशनिंग होती थी, कैसे विंडोज को ऐसे डायरेक्शन में बनाया जाता था जहां से they could catch light and wind. Huge towers would be constructed so that वो wind को पकड़ के उस इलाके को ठंडा कर सके। ऐसा आपका आर्किटेक्चर था, ऐसा आपका डिजाइन था, ऐसी आपकी टेक्नोलॉजी थी, ऐसी आपकी साइंस थी। तो कोई नई चीज आप नहीं पढ़ रहे हैं। कोई नई चीज करने हम नहीं जा रहे। हम अपनी पुरानी चीजों को अगर समझ लें, पुराने जो हमारे संस्कार, जो सोच, जो संस्कृति, जो विचार, जो हम लोगों ने देखा है, उसको अगर दोबारा से यूज करना शुरू करें। My father would not let me go to my toilet, which was a second away from my study table, till I switched off the lamp and the fan. I would tell him I'll be back in a minute. He said, no, you will have to switch it off. Even today in his house, there is only in the foyer outside, there are houses all around which have lots of light bulbs. He doesn't, he has just one. And I asked him as a young girl, I think I was 20, 21, and he told me it is not about paying electricity bills. It is about national wastage. It is about protecting the Mother Earth. So we have to get that. We have to understand this. हम कर सकते हैं और हमें करना चाहिए। 2047 में एक विकसित भारत का मतलब ये बिल्कुल नहीं है कि आपके पास सिर्फ सड़क हो, पानी हो, बिजली हो, शिक्षा हो, बड़े-बड़े संस्थान हो, बड़े-बड़े हॉस्पिटल हो। जब इस धरती माँ को हम बचा ही नहीं पाएंगे, उस विकसित भारत का हम क्या करें? सांस अगर हम नहीं ले पाएंगे, अगर हम उसमें जी नहीं पाएंगे उस धरती माँ में, तो विकसित करके कहाँ जाएंगे? So we have to really understand that we will have to work in tandem. It has to be in harmony. It has to work. We have to walk hand in hand. Development is very, very important. As a politician, I know our people demand development. They want roads. They want water. But how are we going to save that water? Are we not even contemplating? Maybe, people say world war would be for water. So we have to really start thinking. And young minds like yours, I hope, that you come out with good solutions which are good for the country, for the state, for Mother Earth, but also for the people. लोगों को छोड़कर ये सब नहीं चलेगा। आप अगर सोचते हैं कि आप लोगों को एक तरफ करके और आप सस्टेनेबल एनर्जी और सस्टेनेबल, नहीं चलता है। हमें बताना होगा एक कि ये क्यों अच्छी चीज है, दो क्या उसके माध्यम से हम उनको सुविधा, चाहे नौकरी के लिए हो, जॉब क्रिएशंस हो, चाहे उनको और आसान इजी लिविंग कर पाए हम उनके, we will have to talk to them because they are also major, they are the major stakeholders. You cannot work कि आप एक तरफ अलग से कहीं, आप एक वैक्यूम में नहीं काम करते हैं, आप हार्ड मास इंसान के साथ काम करते हैं, और जब आप उसके साथ काम करते हैं तो उसके सेंटिमेंट्स को भी आपको चिंता करनी होगी, उसको भी देखना होगा। लेकिन मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि जब हमको प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने एक गोल दिया है, एक विजन दिया है, at least now we have somebody who's giving us a vision, who's giving us goals that we need to achieve this. I'm sure that by 2047 we would have a much better world, a world where our children, our future generation will be able to breathe easily, live easily. So I hope that this seminar organized by Professor Satpathy will come out with great ideas. I congratulate him that he's done a wonderful, it's a wonderful topic which should be thrown at the young children so that they can come back with ideas, they can come back with their own viewpoints on how we can be sustainable and yet be economically very, very powerful. Thank you for having me here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your insightful words and inspiring vision. Now I would request Professor Ritesh to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Before I deliver the vote of thanks, ma'am, thank you so much for such an insightful speech. We completely echo with your observations. We do believe in circular economy. We do believe in that to achieve the
Viksit Bharat, we need to work on sustainable energy. So thank you so much for your wisdom. Good morning everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to be hosting this very exciting one-day conclave on such a grand scale. The fact that we can witness so many eminent speakers across the country with such a large audience, closely packed, is almost overwhelming. It wasn't easy for most of us because we are a bit established center, but together we have made it through. So huge round of applause for all the attendees here. Honorable Chief Guest, Srimati Ritu Khanduri, ma'am, Guest of Honor Sri Syamvi Senji, Deputy Director IIT Roorkee Professor U.P. Singh, Sri Pradeep Badraji, Dr. Madhuji, and our dynamic head Professor Sabatpati. Speakers, respected guests, faculty colleagues, media representatives, and dear participants, a very good morning again. It's our privilege to have been asked to propose a word of thanks on this occasion on behalf of the entire Center for Sustainable Energy. I extend a heartfelt gratitude to all of you for gracing this occasion. Special thanks to the students team. None of this would have been possible without your support. It's because of your joint effort. We are ready to witness an excellent one-day conclave on sustainable energy in Sanatan Bharat, roadmap for the Viksit Bharat in 2047. I'm sure this conclave will be a thrilling experience for all the attendees as it has been for us so far. There is a diversity of discussions which are lined up. We do have two panel discussions which will be moderated by, I think, Professor Sabatpati and Professor Goresetti. We also have arranged high tea, so I request all of you after this, please enjoy the high tea, and I wish that you go back with sweet memories and also more knowledge. And last but not the least, please enjoy and have fun. Thank you so much.
Director UNICEF, he has deep expertise in urban planning and renewable energy policy. Fourth panelist is Professor Anand Gulsu, Professor of EC Department, IIT Roorkee. He is renowned for his research in chemical engineering and bioenergy innovations. The moderator for the discussion will be Professor Soumitra Saraswati. I now request all the panelists and Professor Soumitra to please come on the stage.
Okay, I think we are right back on time and going to start we are all waiting for this exciting panel discussion today, and I welcome all the esteemed panelists to this discussion forum. And the topic of the first panel discussion is sustainable energy in ancient India, what we can do. So the format will be like that. We will keep it approximately 40 to 45 minutes, and I will ask one question to the panelists first, and then you can answer, and then we will have, depending on the time, one more round, and then the discussion will be open to the audience for any further questions. Okay, so I would like to first start with Madam Dr. Sapna Rakesh. So, Madam, I think this conclave, like as you know, that is on sustainable energy and on sustainable. So, India's diverse climate and geography led to highly resilient agricultural methods and architectural design. So, traditional houses in Rajasthan and Gujarat, for instance, were built with materials like mud and wood, and to maximize the resources and the we know these things, making them well suited for the external people. Today we are talking about the zero energy building, and in the morning also our honorable chief guest has talked about this green energy building, where we wanted to maximize the energy utilization and reduce the carbon emission. So what, according to you, like the practices we can learn from our Sanatan Bharat, which can be transferred to the modern days green energy or zero energy building?
At the outset, we first thank IIT Roorkee for giving me this platform. I'm extremely delighted to be sharing the platform with esteemed people around me, and it's a great opportunity. I think, first and foremost, what is good for India is that we are fortunate to have a great inheritance. We are a country from north to south. We are not just one country. There is so much to learn if we go, up in the north, and when we go down to south, or we go to east, or we go to west. There are architectural marvels all around. And when we talk about architectural marvels, it's about the temples in the country, the forts in the country, the Havelis in the country, and apart from that, even the residential structure that India had, there is a lot to learn, and some of it still exists. Like, I don't know how many people have gone to Spiti, Lahore, which is a completely dry and deserted hill area. If you look at the houses there, especially if you look at the Tower Monastery, which is very, very old. It is made out of mud and wood, that's it. And it suits the area. So I think one of the foremost thing about learning from ancient India architecture is that it's been very vernacular. So we were basically using what was available. And not only that, we were using it in a manner that the life in the houses and life around had the maximum livability and sustainability. So if you talk about temples and the great, if you talk about, let's say, Ajanta caves. Ajanta caves are an architectural marvel. You have these carvings right in the mountain rocks with very, big prayer halls and outside low ceiling, which had water, and due to the high ceiling, the air moved out in the pressure, and the whole area, still you can feel that it is clean. Not only that, I mean, if you look at houses in Rajasthan or Havelis in Rajasthan, where you have a step-well water system. So, such great stories of rainwater system, rainwater harvesting. Go deep down towards the west, we find a lot of usage of bamboos in the housing infrastructure, and that is because of the type of humid environments that they have there. So this is one. Second, I think what we have to learn, and which in a way I do not know whose fault is it, because nobody accepts the fault. No generation can be blamed that it was generation from this to this where the fault lies. But the fact is that over the years, if you look at Indian architecture today, all around the India we find the same type of houses, same type of material being used, same type of technology that is being used in building, whereas we have lost a very rich heritage that we had. So I think this is what I would like to say. There is a lot to learn. There are umpteen examples. Look at Rameshwaram temple. I think it's an architectural marvel. Not only it is beautiful, the verandas are so nicely built, and it's more than 1,000 years old. Look at Khajuraho temples. Now the Khajuraho temples are also an architectural marvel. They're all cool inside, and they've stayed for more than 1,200 years, sustained everything that we had. So there are umpteen number of examples. All what we need to do is maybe in our school of architectures, instead of just teaching and focusing on what happens in the West and how the best buildings are being built somewhere else, let us look back inside and let us find out what is actually good for us. Best for others is not best. Best for West is not best for us.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Now I'd like to come to Mr. So we talk about sustainable value chain, sustainable resource management. So what do you think that is there any concept of sustainable value chain and sustainable management on ancient India, and is there any lessons we can learn from that?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Satpathy. First thing, thank you for having me on this panel. For the benefit of all the young students who are sitting, sometimes you have this thought in mind, what is sustainable? I'll give you a very small example that I've personally been through in last month. I went to the Mahakumbh and it was a great experience. And then we all have read that more than 60 crore people attended the Mahakumbh. And take 2 bottles per person. So 120 crore of these bottles were used in the Mahakumbh. And mind you, this plastic cannot be destroyed for centuries. So anything that does not get destroyed for centuries is non-sustainable. And anything, suppose this bottle that were used were of the same material in which you just had tea, that would have been sustainable. Now, how does our Vedas, Upanishads, Rig Veds, do they teach you sustainability? They teach us a lot about sustainability. You know, I learned somewhere what we call Bhagwan. Bha, Ga, Va, A, Na. Bha se bhumi, Ga se gagan, Va se vayu, A se akash, Na se नीर पानी. ये 5 सोर्स जो हैं, ये पूरा इकोसिस्टम उसी पे चल रहा है. And all the Vedas have taught us that these 5 sources are the sources of energy and they are secret. They are sacred for us. But somehow the Western world taught us that these resources are commodities. We should take over them. But the fact is, they have an interrelation. If you disturb any one of them, the other one gets disturbed. If there is a huge fire, जैसे कहते हैं ना वो stubble burning होती है, किसान वो जला देते हैं, तो जैसे ही वो stubble burning होती है, आप देखते हो कि आप सांस नहीं ले पाते, because वायु gets disturbed. ये ecological balance बनाने के लिए ही हमारे ऋग वेदास में, हमारे उपनिषद में everything was, वो जो ऋषि मुनि लोग थे वो हमको वैसे ही कहते थे कि धरती माँ है, बिकॉज दे न्यू कि अगर ये इसको माँ मानने लगेंगे तो इसके साथ मिसयूज नहीं करेंगे. वो ऐसे ही नहीं बोलते थे कि गंगा, जमुना, सरस्वती माँ है, बिकॉज यू नॉट मिसयूज देम. दे यूज्ड टू टेल यू कि पीपल का पेड़ नहीं काटना है. आज भी आपको आपके दीवार में अगर पीपल का पेड़ उग जाए और आप उसे कटवाने के लिए आदमी ढूंढे मिलेगा नहीं, बिकॉज दैट इज इनग्रेन्ड इन आवर ancient system. So the ancient system told us a lot of things. One, that वायु, अग्नि, और आपने अगर महाभारत, रामायण टीवी पे भी देखी हो तो आपको पता होगा कि अग्नि अग्निदेव हैं, वायु देव हैं. Why? Because we worship them as these resources that the universe and Mother Nature has provided us. We worship them as gods, as deities. Why? Because the rishis and the ancient writers of the Rig Vedas, they knew that the ecological balance, this earth will exist till the time the ecological balance and the sustainability of this earth is maintained. And that can only be maintained when the human beings living on this planet will start respecting them. Another point is, I was just discussing over tea, minimalistic attitude. आप उतनी ही जरूरत यूज करें जितनी आपको जरूरत है. आज हम, खासकर आपकी वाली जनरेशन, उतना यूज नहीं करती, ज्यादा से ज्यादा यूज करती है जितना उसको जरूरत है. यू नीड टू बी मिनिमलिस्टिक. देन देयर इज ए संस्कृत वर्ड कॉल्ड अपरिग्रह, व्हिच मींस एंटी होर्डिंग. आप इन रिसोर्सेज को अपने पास जमा मत करिए. और आपने देखा होगा दुनिया की ज्यादातर जो जंग हो रही हैं आजकल, whether it is Ukraine, Russia or other wars that are happening, they are to control the resources. वो कहानी वही है, sustainability का challenge है. क्यों? Their mindset is that this is not a resource, it is a commodity I need. Whereas this is a resource which you need to minimalistically harness. And I give you 4 words that you can take away from this talk. What you need to do with these resources. One is, you need to respect these resources. You need to use them responsibly. Second R is responsibility. Third R is that you need to reuse them. It is what you call in the modern economy circular economy. कि एक प्रोडक्ट है, मैंने बनाया, मेरा वेस्ट इन्होंने यूज किया, इनका वेस्ट उन्होंने यूज किया, अल्टीमेटली देयर इज नो वेस्ट. एंड द लास्ट इज रेसिप्रोसिटी. अगर आपने ये 4 चीज रिसोर्सेज के साथ की, if you use them in a responsible manner, if you use them minimalistically, if you use them responsibility, and last R is you respect these resources. और आपको मैं बता दूं, आप हम में से ऐसा कोई नहीं है जिसने ये नहीं देखा होगा कि सनातन में यज्ञ नहीं होता, यज्ञ होता है. पहले बारिश के लिए यज्ञ होता था. क्यों? Each resource is respecting each other. You do the yajna with the fire, the rain will come. Why? Because they are respecting the resources and they want you to use them minimalistically, because the resources become inclusive. सबके लिए हो ना. They are used for common good. They are available for everybody and they are long lasting. आज मैं हूँ, मेरे बच्चे हैं, उनके बच्चे होंगे, जनरेशन will. You don't want to deplete all your resources in your life only. You need to restore them for future generations to come.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. I think in fact this resource management, which we are talking about today's world, this concept also was there in the Sanatan Bharat. Like we tried our best to optimize our resources, and now we are talking about recyclability. Recyclability is one of the major topic of the sustainable energy also, and circular economy. So both are highly connected. Now I'll come back to Professor Anand Bulusu. He is a professor in the electronics department, and just wanted to correct that. I think his specialization in VLSI design and CMOS device. Okay, and he's a well-known person in the electronics department. So Professor Bulusu, I just am curious about that. You know that in sustainable energy, one of the major area of research is waste to energy. So the government has put a lot of emphasis on how you can convert different types of solid and municipal waste, as well as kitchen waste, like to useful fuels. For example, we also talk about sustainable aviation fuel. We talk about biofuel. So these are all examples of how one waste can be utilized in a useful way. Now we have learned this thing from our childhood, that in earlier time people used to use the kitchen waste also for the compost and cow dung. Like in the villages we have seen that we use cow dung for also burning as a fuel. And it is believed that they also contribute to the less carbon emissions. So the impact of the carbon economy, if you consider that the net carbon values is also very less. So do you think that some of this concept which we practice in ancient India, that valid equally well, or what are the ideas in the ancient India in terms of the waste to energy concept which we can take on in today's world?
So I don't work exactly in the area of biofuels or waste management, but I can talk about general things, which Munishji has very well covered. So the sustainability in general is not coming as a patchwork in the Indian way of thinking, or Sanatana way of thinking. It's not coming as a patchwork. It comes as the most fundamental. So we look at the thing as Dharma Chakra Pravartanaya. ऐसे आता है ना हमारे यहाँ. So Dharma Chakra चलता है. So everything is cyclic in nature as well as in the society. The way society operates, various sections of society operate with each other and with nature. That is also cyclic. Nature itself is cyclic. Time is cyclic according to the Sanatana Hindu way of looking at things. Time is also cyclic. That is why you have all the yugas repeating, and also the day and night of Brahma. So like that it is the Veda. So Shri Chakraraja Nilaya Shrimat Tripura Sundari. So the supreme God, or however you call it, is if seen as the Devi, and she is Shri Chakraraja Nilaya. She is that in all the cycles, she is the or the king of cycles, Chakraraja. In that she is the. So that is one way of looking at it. So that's why we have accepted that the cyclic nature of time, of all the resources, of various interactions of the society is inherent nature. And if we follow them, then dharma is there. If we don't follow them, dharma is not there. So dharma leads to sustainability. So that is the, I think, fundamental difference between the Western way of looking at things and our way of looking at things. So I think that should be first identified. So accordingly, what Professor Shobitra was saying, how this waste to resource is, or how waste is also seen cyclically to be used. So I have seen one example which is very close by. Here you have this jaggery units all around, and you'll be surprised they employ in one tehsil they employ around 20,000 people in the peak season. So that's not a minor employment. So that I have seen how they manage is that the sugarcane comes and then its juice is taken out, and that is through something called kolhu. So traditionally bullocks used to go around, and then that was converted into so what you call that the juice was taken out from this bullock cow, and the bullock was at that time not used in the fields. So that is again there is a cycle. So when it is not used in the field, then it is used when it comes to use here. So it's not that the bullock is or oxes are staying free, for that part of the year. So they are again in that cycle. So they come out from the field and they are in this what they call jerky, where the jaggery is made. And then once that what I observed is that sugarcane juice is removed, that the remaining part, the molasses or all, that is used as fuel. So that is then used as fuel, and then the sediment that remains, that is once this juice is boiled, the process is a long boiling process through several. So it is shifted in several jars, different temperatures, and then the jaggery comes out. So so now that there is a sediment that comes out, and that is given to the people who rear pigs. So that also is it is so connected with the entire social life. So people who rear pigs, they need some good nutrients for their pigs. So that also comes from here. So and the farmers, when they are not doing farming, the farming work is now lesser. At that time they come and work here. So in the jaggery making unit. So and once after the fuel is burned, the carbon is thrown away in the fields. So carbon content of fields is released. So it's all cyclic. So and you are not getting anything from anywhere, and you are not wasting anything. It's actually a very good example of waste to a resource. So that I think was because we were actually seeing everything to be cyclic. So we had first seen, we had the perception that things are cyclic. Chakriya Gati se chalta hai. The things move in cycle, they move ahead, but they move in cycles. So that fundamental way of thinking, I think, was behind design of technologies in this way. and development of technologies in this. The problem is that these are staying where they were 1,000 years back. Our research is not towards developing or improving them. So rather than we want to create something very new. So there has been a lot of things. There are a lot of traditional technologies which have all these elements. But now, for example, this bullock pull is not used anymore. They use either electric motor, or they, even worse, they use this tractor. They let the tractor be on, and using that energy they get the sugar cane juice. So that's even worse. So that's what they are doing, because bullocks are no longer available. They are not used in the fields. So we cannot use them here. So that's what I have observed. So things, the way they are changing, and there is no study on the fuel efficiency, how to make those chambers more fuel efficient, what other uses can that chamber input to. So this kind of research is needed, I think, and learning from these traditional technologies is needed. So what I often think is that how do we reuse, as Manish was saying. How do we, there is no good way of reusing integrated circuits. Really, there is no good way of reusing. There is no reuse at all. Once any laptop or phone is gone, you throw it away. So there is no good reuse of integrated circuits. So from that, how do you reuse? I think these are kind of questions. And waste to energy. One example I have told, waste to because the sugar cane, whatever is left is actually waste, but nothing is wasted. Every part of it is used. So I think best way for that is to study traditional technologies, take away principles from them, get them to things like electronics, those principles. So design in such a way that the IC can be reused. I am thinking about that, but that's a problem which is difficult to handle. So right now there is no answer to this question in fields like electronics.
Maybe they didn't use ICs, because I always keep wondering that whether they were using some kind of electronics. How did Sanjay watch the Mahabharat war? I have thought about it so many times that how did he watch the Mahabharat war? There was nothing broadcasting happening like IPL there.
Yeah, there might be true that there are a lot of marvels are still unexplored or to be unfolded. Yeah, but I agree with Professor Murusu, like he gave one example. You have given one example of this sugar molasses, and as we know, sugar molasses is one of the feedstock of biofuels or sustainable aviation fuels. But it is true that lots of work still needs to be done in that area to move forward in that direction. So moving forward, I like to come to Mr. Tripathi. So basically, you know that the government of India, the Prime Minister has set up a very ambitious goal of establishing 270 gigawatt of solar power by 2030. Now, which needs a lot of installations of the solar module and solar power, and heavily we still depends on the import of the solar panel. If we look back, like India also has a very rich history of solar energy conservation, even it goes back to the Rigveda times. So in 13th century, Konarka Sun Temple is one of the best example which use the solar energy conversions, and it has been told that the first concept of the concentrated solar cake, which is also now used in the industries. We also have used in the Ramayana and Mahabharata, we have heard about solar chula. So how do you think that some of these marvels in the solar energy area transfers to today's essence of achieving the solar essence by the Prime Minister?
Thank you, Professor Pratik. सभी हाल में उपस्थित युवा भावी पीढ़ी, विकसित भारत के संदर्भ में हमारे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, अभी मुनीष जी ने कहा कि 5 ऊर्जा यानी पंच तत्व। विकसित भारत जब शुरू होता है तो पहले हमारे शरीर से शुरू होता है। हमारा शरीर 5 तत्व हैं और जो हम आज चर्चा कर रहे हैं 5 तत्व कौन कौन से हैं? अभी ऊर्जा के बारे में भी बताया, जल, अग्नि, वायु और कोई उधर से पृथ्वी और आकाश। यानी ये 5 चीजों का ही हमें अपने शरीर के अंदर बैलेंस करना है और प्रकृति के अंदर बैलेंस करना है। यानी पृथ्वी यानी भूगर्भ से अभी हम जो ऊर्जा, सबसे खतरनाक ऊर्जा का सोर्स यूज कर रहे हैं, जिसे हमारे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी कम करना चाहते हैं, यानी भू खनन कोयला से फिर हम इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बना रहे हैं, वो जमीन से निकलने वाली ऊर्जा है। आकाश मतलब कॉस्मिक एनर्जी में इलेक्ट्रोमैग्नेटिक एनर्जी भी है और आपकी सौर ऊर्जा भी है। जल, हाइड्रो पावर, हम लोग ग्रीन एनर्जी पर बात कर रहे हैं तो हाइड्रो पावर पे भी बात कर रहे हैं। आपका वायु, विंड एनर्जी पर हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं। और ये जो 5 चीजें हैं, ये हमारे शरीर के अंदर भी उसी तरीके से बैलेंस करनी है। जैसे सौर ऊर्जा का एंशिएंट पीरियड में आपने जिक्र किया कि सौर ऊर्जा आर्किटेक्चरल कोणार्क के मंदिर में बनाया गया। मैडम ने कहा, सपना जी ने, कि एक जगह सूर्य की ऊर्जा को कंसेंट्रेट किया गया। उसी तरीके से सौर ऊर्जा का सौर चूल्हा सनातन में जो यूज किया गया है या जो उसको हम लोग पहले से इस्तेमाल करते आ रहे हैं, तो सौर ऊर्जा का महत्व हम लोग सनातन में इस तरीके से भी देते आ रहे हैं। आप लोगों ने सुना होगा छठ पूजा होती है। छठ पूजा में क्या करते हैं कि सूर्य की ऊर्जा, मैंने कहा क्योंकि सौर ऊर्जा पर विशेषता बात करिए प्रोफेसर साहब ने, तो मैं सौर ऊर्जा पे ही जाऊंगा, बाकी के 4 तत्वों पे बाद में चर्चा करेंगे। तो सूर्य की ऊर्जा हम लें, सनातन में ऐसा प्रावधान किया गया कि छठ पूजा जैसे फेस्टिवल का आयोजन किया गया कि पूरे दिन पहले भूखे रहेंगे, यानी अपने सेल को रेजुविनेट करने के लिए। सूर्य की ऊर्जा का सबसे अच्छा समय हमारे शरीर के लिए विटामिन डी लेने के लिए सुबह और शाम का होता है। और जब अर्घ देते हैं जल से हम, तो वो प्रिज्म का जो जल है वो प्रिज्म की तरह काम करता है। जब सूर्य का जो किरणें हैं हमारे ऊपर उस जल से निकलती हुई पड़ती हैं, तो उन किरणों का सबसे ज्यादा लाभ शरीर को मिलता है और सबसे ज्यादा विटामिन डी का दोहन हम कर पाते हैं। आज विकसित भारत के अंदर में हमारे शरीर में आप अगर अपना चेक कराएंगे जाके, तो मैक्सिमम लोगों के अंदर विटामिन डी की कमी है। मैक्सिमम लोगों के अंदर विटामिन डी कम निकलेगा। क्यों? क्योंकि हमारा सन के साथ एक्सपोजर कम हो गया। हमने हमारा जो पंचतत्व है उसमें से एक जो पंचतत्व हमें शरीर के अंदर लेना था, उसको हम लेने की प्रथा सनातन में थी, लेकिन हम उसका सुबह जाके जल अर्घ नहीं देते हैं सूर्य। तो हमें शायद सुबह रोज सूर्य को जल देना चाहिए, जिससे कि हम जो सूर्य की ऊर्जा है उसको ट्रैक कर सकें। अब आते हैं सौर ऊर्जा के ऊपर पे, कि सौर ऊर्जा में हम 280 गीगावाट का एक टारगेट है जो हमारे यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री जी ने रखा है। और इसके अंदर में नेशनल सोलर मिशन पे हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं। नेशनल सोलर मिशन के अंतर्गत में रूफटॉप सोलर का प्रोविजन किया गया है, पीएम सूर्य घर योजना। अभी जो चूल्हे की बात करी, एक इंडियन ऑयल ने R&D करके सौर ऊर्जा नूतन सोलर करके एक चूल्हा बनाया है, जिसमें एक पैनल को छत पर कनेक्ट कर देंगे और इंडक्शन की तरह आपका चूल्हा होगा, और उससे आपका 1000 रुपए महीने का जो गैस में लगता है वो बचाया जा सकता है सिर्फ उस नूतन सौर चूल्हे से। तो वो व्यवस्था R&D के बाद अभी लगभग 10 लाख घरों में वो नूतन सौर जो चूल्हा है वो पहुंचा है। इसके अलावा जो रूफटॉप सोलर है उसको लगाने के लिए और सोलर पार्क लगाने के लिए $10,000 बिलियन का इन्वेस्टमेंट। अब आप जनरली पढ़ाई करते हैं ना, तो सोचते हैं कैसे हम बड़े एंटरप्रेन्योर बनेंगे, कैसे हम बड़ा सक्सेसफुल बनेंगे। तो $10,000 बिलियन का इन्वेस्टमेंट इंडिया के अंदर हम लोग सोलर सेक्टर में देख रहे हैं। आपके लिए संभावनाएं कहाँ हैं? संभावनाएं हैं आपका जो सौर ऊर्जा से जुड़ी रिसर्च है। मतलब आज हम अपनी कार को ऐसा मटेरियल क्यों नहीं बनाते हैं कि हमारी कार सोलर ऊर्जा अपने आप संरक्षित करे, हमारे घर सौर ऊर्जा को अपने आप ट्रैप करें। हम टाइल्स लगाते हैं, ऐसे टाइल्स बनाएं, रिसर्च करें, ऐसे टाइल्स बनाएं कि सौर ऊर्जा अपने आप ट्रैप करे। हम ऐसे जो सोलर ऊर्जा पे ऐसा काम करें सेल के ऊपर जो सोलर पैनल है कि कार्बन को वो कैप्चर कर ले, और कुछ ऐसा करें कि वो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड एनवायरनमेंट से, चूंकि सोलर हमारा लगेगा इतना सारा, आच्छादित होगा सोलर से हमारा वातावरण, तो कार्बन को हम ट्रैप करें उससे। तो बड़े इन्वेस्टमेंट को, लैंड एक्विजिशन को बहुत सरल बनाया जा रहा है सोलर पर। कोल मंत्रालय और खान मंत्रालय में अभी मैं सलाहकार बतौर देख रहा हूँ कि कोयला बनाने वाली जितनी कंपनियां हैं उनको ये कहा गया है कि आप अगर कोयला बना रहे हैं तो कोल इंडिया को 5 गीगावाट सोलर पैनल या सौर ऊर्जा से चलित संयंत्र भी लगाने पड़ेंगे। तो हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी निरंतर सौर ऊर्जा को या अक्षय ऊर्जा को कैसे बढ़ाना उस पर काम कर रहे हैं। और आपके लिए क्या काम है? 5 तत्वों के अंदर अग्नि यानी कि एटॉमिक एनर्जी में हम कैसे सस्टेनेबल एनर्जी डेवलप कर सकते हैं। अग्नि मतलब एटम से निकलने वाली प्रज्वलित अग्नि, हाइड्रोजन यानी वाटर की एनर्जी, हाइड्रोजन एनर्जी, विंड एनर्जी, सोलर एनर्जी, एज वेल एज भू संरक्षण। इन 5 चीजों का हमें संरक्षण भी करना है। संरक्षण मतलब वातावरण में हवा को प्रदूषित नहीं करना है, उसके नए आयाम खोजने हैं। आपको जो एटॉमिक एनर्जी है उसका ज्यादा से ज्यादा हम इस्तेमाल आगे आने वाली ऊर्जा की जरूरतों को पूरा करने में कैसे कर सकते हैं, उस पर अनुसंधान और शोध करना है। आपका जो हाइड्रो एनर्जी है, विंड एनर्जी है, वो कोस्टल बेल्ट पे काम करना है। कहाँ हम कितनी ऊंचाई पे कितना विंड एनर्जी को इजिली एक्सेसिबल लोगों के लिए बना सकते हैं, और वातावरण को यानी विंड को कितना कम से कम पॉल्यूट करें। तो ये सारे विषय चिंतन के हैं, और आज शायद चिंतन से आप लोग कुछ ऐसा लेकर जाएं यहाँ से कि इन विषयों पर आप शोध करें, क्योंकि आने वाले समय में अगर हमने इन 5 तत्वों का संरक्षण कर लिया तो हमारे जीवन का संरक्षण है, आगे आने वाली पीढ़ी का संरक्षण है। और यही विकसित भारत और राष्ट्र निर्माण की प्रेरणा हमारे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी रखते हैं, और हम सभी को इस तरह राष्ट्र निर्माण में अपना शोध के जरिए योगदान देना चाहिए।
Thank you. I think that was a very wonderful thing to learn, that there is so much of investment by the government, and since he is also representing the government sector, like especially like in the coal area and in other sector, there are a lot of investment government is planning to do with the solar energy. So there is a lot of potential to work in this area, especially like in a large scale implementations and new technology development. So we are coming towards the almost end of this thing. So I just wanted to go for a quick round of questions to all the panelists. I start with Dr. Sanatan Bharat. So today we heard about solar energy, we heard about waste to energy, we heard about wind energy, then we heard about geothermal energy also. So now ancient India or Sanatan Bharat, when we talk about we have a good understanding of the environmental sustainability and sustainable energy in all sectors, right? And that have been also integrated in the various aspects of the life. So while we are being a department or center in the sustainable energy, and we are developing the courses on sustainability and sustainable energy, so do you think that there is a need for introduction of any of the concept or any of the practices which Sanatan India used to follow? And if your answer is yes, then what one line or what one advice you wanted to like to be introduced in today's engineering syllabus?
That's a very interesting question, although I'm not qualified to suggest any addition in the engineering syllabuses because I really do not know what goes into engineering, but with my commonsensical thoughts that I have. What we had and what we should have now, I don't think it is a thing to debate. In the past, we had some good things. We definitely would have had some bad things. We would have lost them because they wouldn't have survived the time. But along with the bad things, we also lost a lot of good things. And one of the good things is, I think living in harmony with nature and mindful consumption. Mindless consumption is a problem of our current society, whatever we may say. You look at the wardrobe of any girl, she would have 10 pairs of shoes. They wear blue jeans, but they would have 10 pairs of blue jeans. Now, it is a fact that we need to question mindless consumption and we need to promote mindful consumption. This is one thing that I would want to suggest. It falls in the remix of values and ethics. It is about being environment friendly, it's about being saving. It's about saving energy, it's about putting the same stuff to a longer duration in the use, not discarding our clothes early on. The mindless consumption that we see today is not only in the clothes or in food, even the way we consume, let us say, our vehicles. You have to go 400 meters, 500 meters, people will not walk. If you have a scooter and a car, you would not prefer to have a scooter. Whereas, if 5 people going to the same destination can go together, they would all go in their own cars. Now this mindless consumption is a true problem and I do not know wherein it fits into the life skills teaching in engineering, but somewhere I think mindless consumption should definitely be discouraged and mindful consumption be promoted.
Yes, thank you. So I think that we wanted to talk about the optimization of the resources that should be taught. Okay, only thing the same question stream. If you think that now I will ask the same question to all of you that what one takeaway you wanted to take it from the ancient India, which you think is needed in today's world. One just takeaway from your point of view, we should be taught today.
The one takeaway you should take is there is a lot of text available in ancient India, whether it is you want to learn economics and how economics is related to water conservation system, you read Chanakya, his Arthashastra. Similarly, you, as the Honorable Chief Guest was talking about green buildings, this green building is already mentioned in Vastu Shastra. Where the ventilator has to be put, from which side the house has to be constructed, how the light has to pass and how without air conditioning the house has to be kept cool. So all the Vastu Shastra, the Vana Shastra, the Arth Shastra, if these ancient books department wise are part of the syllabi of I have not seen a department in our country using these books as textbooks. I think 1.5 years ago, I went to London Metropolitan University. London Metropolitan University, they took me to their Department of Economics. And I was surprised, Chanakya is a full-time course in London Metropolitan University. Well, you tell me whether it is a full-time course in IIT. It's not. They are picking up our ancient knowledge, converting it into modern patents and sending the product back to you. We all are aware Americans have converted haldi as a patent, turmeric as a patent, neem as a patent, where that knowledge is truly ancient knowledge. And we all know what haldi can do. We have been drinking haldi with milk for generations and generations. So the only takeaway is as Professor Anand said, that whatever is part of the ancient knowledge that we have, we should study that knowledge and take it forward to the modern context, rather than always thinking that I will do something very new. If you improve what we already have, half the battle is won.
Professor Guru, I will come back to you with the same question. What you think that in terms of the environmental sustainability and sustainability achieve, what one takeaway we can learn from the ancient India, and which you think being an engineering college, which should be taught to the modern generation?
I think this very fact that the social life, how different parts of the sectors of the society interact with each other, give and take, and the nature, all these time, everything is cyclic. That fundamental aspect should be taught. The other thing is that in all the design courses, it requires a lot of research also. We need to have reuse as how design for reuse. Design for reuse, I think, is a topic on which we need to do a lot of research and later convert it into curriculum.
Thank you. I will come back to Mr. Tripathi with the same questions, what one takeaway you think from the ancient India, environmental sustainability and climate change can be adopted in today's syllabus?
Self-reliant Bharat like self-reliant village. आत्मनिर्भर गांव, एक आत्मनिर्भर गांव ऊर्जा से और उसकी आवश्यकताओं से कैसे बन सकता है, उसके ऊपर ऐसा कोर्स बनाया जाए और एक केस स्टडी के फॉर्म में एक गांव में कुछ बच्चों को भेजा जाए कि आप कैसे यहाँ की ऊर्जा की और दैनिक जरूरतों को पूरा कर सकते हैं, जैसे एंशिएंट भारत में था। वैसा एक हमें सेल्फ रिलायंट विलेज, सेल्फ रिलायंट भारत तभी हो सकता है जब हम सेल्फ रिलायंट विलेज बने। और वहाँ पर जैसे आज की मॉडर्न जो टेक्नोलॉजी है, लाइक इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी, एनर्जी से जुड़ी जो रिसाइकल रीयूज की व्यवस्थाएं हैं। दूसरा, लिथियम आयन या लिथियम के ऊपर चूंकि हम सौर ऊर्जा पर बात कर रहे हैं, तो बैटरी स्टोरेज एक बहुत बड़ी समस्या है। उस पर हम शोध कैसे बढ़ाएं और उस लिथियम आयन बैटरी को रिकलेक्ट कैसे करें और उसको रिसाइकल करने की जो प्रोसेसिंग है उसको कैसे इजीली एक्सेसिबल बनाएं सोसाइटी में, उस पर आप
Yeah, I think that was a very nice input from the Mr. Tripathi, about the recyclability and solar cells, and making an independent solar village, how this concept can be transcribed to today's world. Now, this panel discussion is open to the audience for the questions. If you have anyone from the audience, if you would like to ask our esteemed panelists any questions. Yeah.
Very illuminating, very thoughtful, and very progressive discussion we had heard from the respective panelists. I had few rather concerns rather than questions to all the panelists. Number one is when we are talking of ancient India, what was there, and can we actually go back to those days and recollect those knowledge and try to implement in the present situation so as to have the Viksit Bharat by such and such marked year. Okay, that's a very good thing. But I find over the years the entire world has changes. For example, if you take the Vastu Shastra, okay, earlier we used to have plenty of land and those things. We want to erect a house, we want to know northwest, southwest, east-west, which is the best direction to get the sunlight and the air, what will be this, everything. Now people go by the flat model. Big towers are there in the metro cities because of the accommodation problem. Now this builder will say, this is the flat left for you, where you won't get the air, this side is blocked, that side is blocked, this side is blocked. Then we cannot think of Vastu Shastra those days. So this is one of the forcible acceptance by the human body these days. So we have to also consider such thing. Second is, when we talk of the, like Madam has given a beautiful example, say if you open the wardrobe, you will find 10 pairs of jeans, 10 pairs of shoes and those things, that's fine, absolutely. But if I stick to, I am taking it more lighter tone, if I stick to one pair of shoe, what will happen economic growth to the shoes industry, footwear industries, okay. I am not saying wastage of the resources, I am saying we want economic growth, we want the technological growth, we want the recycling. All those things collectively we want an independent, self-reliant country. So there we have lot of hindrances if we microanalyze things. This is what we have learned over the years by doing research, by studying, by convincing our students also. We cannot convince students, see this will happen, this will happen, this will happen. Sir, कैसे होगा आप बताइए realistically, where will be the country's economic growth will take place if we want to reach such and such thing. So this is another concern occurs to my mind, okay. Also I am just projecting before learned panelists, okay. And when we talk, for example, the recyclability and to be tuned with the circular economy. Circular economy means each and every spot we have to draw the economy and that will grow continuously. And at the end it needs cycling, it will be finally a good economy generation will be there. For example, you have given a very good example of lithium-ion battery, or say Professor Bolusu has given an example of the IC circuit, this recyclability or the extraction of the e-waste extraction. But the today's world, the percentage of e-waste as compared to amount of the money we invest for the processing is very minimal. Return is very minimal. Then we find that it is better to buy lithium, buy cobalt, buy nickel and go for the battery. The cost will be so much of US dollar per kilowatt hour, that kind of thing. So we have so many open questions, and these questions hinder to convince our future generation, to convince them, okay, whatever I am saying, please listen, please listen, please listen. They will argue. So how to go about it? This is only my concern. Thank you very much for giving very good idea about this.
Thank you, Professor Singh, for very insightful observations. Any panelists who want to have any comments quickly?
Sir, thank you. Your concern is very valid. Especially जब हम लिथियम आयन के बारे में बात करें या लिथियम बैटरी के बारे में बात करें, तो ये बहुत डिफिकल्ट है उसकी प्रोसेसिंग और उसको कलेक्ट करना और लेकर। अभी भारत सरकार, हमारे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ये कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि लिथियम के प्रोसेसिंग और से प्रोसेस करने की यूनिट इंडिया में लगे, और उस पर लगभग 40,000 करोड़ का इन्वेस्टमेंट कुछ वर्धमान करके कंपनी है जो लगा रहे हैं अलग अलग, क्योंकि लिथियम कई फॉर्म में मिलता है, लिक्विड में भी, सॉलिड में भी, और जो बैटरी से भी कलेक्ट होके या उसका कलेक्शन का जो मैकेनिज्म है उस पर कुछ इंसेंटिव बेस्ड प्रोग्राम भारत सरकार प्लान कर रही है और आगे भी करेगी, क्योंकि दोनों ही विषय महत्वपूर्ण है। कठिन है, बट जहाँ कठिनाई है वहीं शोध की आवश्यकता है। जैसे आपने कहा बिल्डिंग, आज हमारे को अगर हवा, पानी और जो सूर्य की रोशनी बिल्डिंग में, फ्लैट में नहीं मिल रही है, तो ये हमारे लिए अपॉर्चुनिटी है। जितने भी यंगस्टर्स हैं उनके लिए अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि एनसेंट को हम कंपेयर करें और ऐसे आर्किटेक्चरल सपोर्ट या ऐसी प्रोविजंस लाएं और आगे ऐसे प्रोविजंस पे काम करें जिससे हवा, पानी और जो सूर्य की रोशनी है वो हर किसी को पर्याप्त मात्रा में, प्रचुर मात्रा में प्राप्त हो सके। और बिल्डिंग के मटीरियल पे भी आज काम करने की आवश्यकता है कि ऐसा बायोमास मटीरियल हो जिसको हमें खनन करके ना निकालना पड़े, वो बायोमास मटीरियल से हम बिल्डिंग बनाएं और उस मटीरियल को हम दोबारा रिसाइकिल करके उसको प्रोसेस करें, तो वहाँ भी हमें शोध की आवश्यकता है। हमारी इस युवा पीढ़ी के लिए जब हम अब सतत विकास की तरफ काम कर रहे हैं तो शोध की बहुत बड़ी आवश्यकता होने वाली है। आपका रोल बहुत बढ़ने वाला है।
I think you've raised right concerns, but the problem is that you cannot replicate the past in the future, but you can always, things did not go wrong in one night. They gradually went wrong. Things will improve not in one night. They will gradually improve. So, like few days back, I studied about the hydrogen now. So there are different forms of hydrogen: blue hydrogen, green hydrogen, grey hydrogen. Now Then I was wondering कौन सा अच्छा है. Then I read that the green one is better. Then why are they producing so many types of hydrogen? Because अब देखना है कहाँ कौन सा जरूरी है, कितना खर्चा किसको बनाने में लगता है. If we always use green hydrogen, it will be very costly. So if somewhere we can do it with grey hydrogen, it is okay. Sometimes it is blue. वो तो आपके क्वेश्चन का एक ही आंसर है, जो हम सब ने किया है, कभी आपने भी शादी की होगी, वो कॉम्प्रोमाइज बनाना है. That is the answer.
Yes, Professor.
I'm not an expert in the area, but one quick thing. For example, there is the old Jaipur city. It's a city, and it has markets, multi-storied buildings, all that from 400 years, and that is based on Vastu Shastra. So we can also look at this city planning. But that cannot give us answers for all the questions that we have today. It might give some pointers. So that is it.
Yes. So I think we are quite now come to the already this session has to be extended. So we have to close our first panel discussions, and I think we got a very good discussions from the first panel. We covered all the different areas of the sustainability and sustainable energy, and some of these important lessons what we can learn. And it is true that whether we should learn some good things from the past, not everything we need to adapt, but some of these things are very good, we should be adapted. And as in the speaker madam today morning also mentioned that economic development should go side by side, because no nation can develop without economic development. So in the name of the resource conservation or sustainability, economic development should not be hampered. So a balance is needed. Now how we can understand those previous knowledges to the today's world, and how it can lead to a developed country, that exercise needs to be done collectively by all of us. And our panelist has given us a direction how we should proceed in that direction. With this, I like to thank all our esteemed panelists, for very insightful discussions, and I give it to Roorkee for the further course of action.
I thank all the panelists and Professor Satpathy for moderating this panel discussions. Now I would request Professor Satpathy to kindly facilitate Mr. Avinash Tripathi with a memento. I would also request her to present a memento to Dr. Sapna Rakesh. I would request Professor Satpathy to present a memento to Mr. Manish Tabra. I would request Sir to present a memento to Professor Anand Pulsu. Now we will begin our second panel discussion. The topic for this discussion is strategies to incorporate Sanatan knowledge on sustainable energy for building a Viksit Bharat. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed panelists for this discussion. First panelist is Dr. Tanu Jain, Deputy Director at NIDEM, Ministry of Defence. Dr. Jain has started her career as a dentist, and she has a strong experience in running government programs, making policies and guiding others. Next panelist is Dr. Brijendra Negi, Director of Sustainability, Rajagara University. He is a well-known expert in circular economy practices, has led efforts to reduce carbon emissions across his university campus. Our third panelist is Dr. R.K. Malhotra, President, Hydrogen Association of India. He has led the way in developing hydrogen technologies and shaping related policies, helping put India India on the global map in hydrogen energy sector. Our fourth panelist is Dr. S.K. Bose, CEO, Hydrocarbon Scale Sector. He is an expert in training and developing skilled professionals, designing modern courses to make sure India's energy workforce is ready for a cleaner and a sustainable future. The moderator for this panel discussion is Professor Anil Gauri Shetty. I request all of you to kindly be seated on the stage.
Namaste everyone. So really glad to be here. Thank Center for Sustainable Energy, Professor Sarpati, for giving me this opportunity to be a moderator in this panel discussion on strategy to incorporate Sanatan knowledge of sustainable energy for building a Viksit Bharat. And as already the anchor has introduced our esteemed panelists, I don't want to come between you and lunch. I hope the insights that we are going to get from the experts will certainly enrich our knowledge on Sanatan Bharat and what are the traditional practices which will be relevant in present times and what is the role at individual and at collective level. So the structure is as usual, I will ask a question to each panelist separately and for 5 to 10 minutes the panelist will respond, and after each panelist gives response to each respective question, there will be a common question to all of you, and it will be requested to speak for about 5 minutes. So as introduced, I am Anil Gauri Shetty. I am Professor of Nuclear Physics in the Department of Physics and also I am Head of Center for Indian Knowledge Systems. This is a new initiative by IIT Roorkee. So the first question is to Dr. Tanu Jain, who is the Deputy Director of NIDEM, National Institute of Defence Estates and Management. And because of this event, I get to know many institutes and also many individuals. Certainly it is going to be enriching for me as well. So when we talk about the sustainable energy, and it is important to have many strategies to reduce the carbon emissions. And based on your extensive experience in the land management. Now it is very clear that there are many traditional practices which gives a lot of directions for natural cooling, resourcefulness and many things which can help us for building sustainable architectures kind of thing. So seeing the advancement in the technology and whatever resources available and some fundamental principles which can be taken from Sanatan Bharat. So from your experience, can you share your insights how to reduce the carbon emissions and what are the various strategies? Because we are living in the urbanization era and we have to maintain the balance, and what is the strategy to reduce the carbon emissions for the urbanization?
A very good afternoon to one and all, and it's an extreme privilege and honor to be here at IIT Roorkee and share our viewpoints with all of you sitting here. So as far as the Sanatan way of life is, I think Sanatan way of life is inclusive development, wherein we consider nature as a part of us. So we consider nature a part of us, and whatever we are doing on the ground, we make sure that we include the nature in it without harming much of the nature. So my first posting was in Himachal Pradesh, that was in the hill cantonment, and the first thing that we saw was that the water reservoirs were all dammed up. In my first posting, so I saw that we don't have sustainable structures with us. Hills have a major problem of water. So what we saw that there were a lot of water reservoirs. उसको हिंदी में कहते हैं बावड़ी. You must have heard about that. तो हमने क्या किया, जितनी भी बावड़ीज थी वो आइडेंटिफाई करी, फिर उनको वाटर रिजुवेनेशन करा, and we went back to our traditional practices of making rain water harvesting structures. तो पहले जितना भी पानी आता था वो सब वेस्ट होता था, but gradually we built 1 structure, 2 structure, 3 structure. Accordingly we created so many structures, and we could restore most of the rainwater rainwater which was spilling away, that could be easily collected and could be used afterwards in the winter seasons when there was a paucity of water. So first thing that we really focused was on restoring the water. Second thing is we did on sustainable practices, like very small things we have. Right now we have this bottle in our hand, and after this water, we have the water, this bottle is empty. So very small waste that we have, like chips khate honge, toffee khate honge. So I was posted in Dehradun for 3 years, and we started with a very small initiative. We started creating eco bricks. So in eco bricks, we started filling this bottle with some wrappers that we had, and we stopped throwing anything in the dustbin. And we motivated all the schools, universities, and even for that matter Taj and other places. Many 5 stars also we had included in us. So they also gave us bottles, and I wish I would have shown you here. So we created stadium at the schools, we created benches for the market, we created some structures like butterflies. Even if you visit Dehradun cantonment, is just an hour away from here. So you would find in the entire area we have actually recycled all the waste, and we have used it to a use that is there forever. And we also created parks and some animal structures also. So for that we were also recognized by the Honorable President, and these are few steps. It just started with one bottle, and then we started with community involvement. So we happened to get the elected members on board, and they had all come, and we had given them the targets कि आपको 1000 बोतलें लेकर आनी है. So 1000 की जगह we actually found out that over a period of time we started with one, and we could actually collect lakhs of it. And we made so many structures. We actually ended up using all the waste, and आखिर में हमारा zero waste हो गया था. So this was something that we did on ground. Then I would like to share that very small things also make a lot of difference. So very small things we do, and then it becomes gradually big. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thanks for reminding this eco bricks. So even my kids from school, they are regularly involved in making this eco bricks. So certainly I think R&D also should focus on the impact of these eco bricks in terms of some kind of constructions. So thank you for that to know. So you have summarized in terms of strategy, it is important to focus on rainwater harvesting and also doing some experiments involving the school students who is going to shape the actually Viksit Bharat in activities like building eco bricks. Thank you so much. And the next question is to Dr. Vijay Negi. He is the visiting faculty in our Center for Sustainable Energy, and also Director for Center for Energy Research in Graphical University. Very good to see your vast experience in the field of clean energy. So as in the previous panel, we have heard different ways to harness the solar power. We see many traditional practices, it could be chulha and many other things. Even in temples, architecture also we see lot of mathematical based calculations so that the constructions can be in such a way that solar energy can be harnessed in a better way. So please share us your ideas how this solar energy harnessing from Sanatan Bharat, Sanatan culture or traditional practices, whatever you say, can help in this achieving the solar mission like 280 megawatt plan.
Thank you very much. At the outset, I would like to thank IIT Roorkee for inviting me to participate in this event, which looks to be very important from the point of view of promoting Sanatan for sustainability. Now I link it Sanatan for sustainability because I also realize that the two issues are interlinked. So the issue is that to protect our environment for sustainability, and solar in fact has seen time in India, starting from the concept of utilizing magnifying lenses, solar mirrors for concentration of light for fire, and thereafter it has been widely used in construction of temples. And the basic principle of utilizing solar movement was to allow sunlight to enter in the room, in the temples, so that there is a minimum requirement of daylight, the electricity. So the daylight itself will illuminate inside the temple, and that whole temple will be illuminated with the sunlight that enters the temple. So that was the basic concept of utilizing solar energy for it also helps for heating inside the temple. Slowly, it took the shape of architecture. We call it solar passive architecture, which utilizes the movement of sun, diurnal movement and a seasonal movement, so that the sun enters, it can enter in the building. During sunshine, it gives warmth, it gives heating for the people who are living in the building, and then utilizing the other parts of the building, so that it blocks sun when it is over here during summer. So the overhangs of the buildings are designed, or the building itself is designed in such a manner so that it blocks solar radiation when it is not needed. So that is called solar passive concept. Now it has taken the shape of green buildings. When we optimize different components, including building materials, so that the building utilizes less energy, conventional energy, for its heating and cooling, including daylighting needs. Now I come to the point of for how the solar energy is being utilized under National Solar Mission. The idea of utilizing solar energy for meeting our energy requirement, for addressing energy security needs and climate change mitigations came after a solid understanding and realization of the fact that there was a lot of concern, climate change and all that. There was a lot of discussion at international level. I don't want to go to the details of those protocols, those agreements signed at the international level. But the intention was to promote a kind of understanding among the people for responsible consumption of resources, production, and then utilize collective wisdom through collaborations for promoting clean energy. So that is how the renewable energy had come to the forefront, and as a part of National Solar Mission in 2010, the Government of India launched National Solar Mission, and the target was very less at that point of time. But the solar mission in India got boost after Prime Minister Modi sir announced at COP 21 at Paris Agreement on 30th November 2015 that India would like to go for 100 gigawatt, 150 gigawatts solar power. So we talked about megawatt. Then in 2015, the country thought of doing in terms of gigawatt, so which included 100 gigawatt from solar power. At that point of time in 2014-2015, the target was set for around 2 megawatt, 2 megawatt I think, 22 megawatt under solar mission. So that gave a boost for solar industry in India, and now I am happy to share with you all that in February 2015, the country crossed 100 gigawatt target, already met by India. The India plans to go for 450 gigawatt solar power by 2030. So the intention is to promote clean energy in the country, to make to achieve the target of net zero emission by 2070. The government is also in fact planning to achieve net zero emission by 2050. So that gives an opportunity for researchers, for industry to put hard efforts in expanding research activities in terms of high efficiency products, solar cells, whether it is battery storage systems, and large scale productions to achieve target by 2030. This is a great challenge for all of us, for researchers, for industry, to expand the research activity, expand the creation of the skilled manpower, so that we have industries which can indigenously manufacture solar cells, solar PV modules to meet our target by 2030. The government has already announced, in fact is being implemented, PLI, production linked incentives for indigenous manufacturing of solar PV modules, so that India has capacity to not only to achieve the target by 2030 but also sustain that 450 or 50 gigawatt power continuously till 2070, and in fact this will be required to sustain net zero emissions beyond that. So the biggest challenge for us is not only to produce, not only to have quality research, but also quality of production system in the country. So we will have to work hard not only in production and not only in research and production, but also in maintaining quality. So there is a need of robust standards and quality infrastructure in the country. So we need three things which requires a lot of attention: research, production and quality, and of course skilled manpower. So I am sure with the current trend of achieving efficiency around 20% in solar cells, and with new materials like TOPCon, kind of modules are coming into the market, and India has also absorbed. Adani has already started manufacturing TOPCon PV cells indigenously in India. I'm sure in future India is going to become a big source of manufacturing hub in the world. Already India is supplying solar PV modules. So precisely what I would like to say that yes, being at IIT Roorkee, I would like to impress upon the researchers to work hard, and not only alone. We would like to collaborate. Collaboration is the key important requirements of the present time, not only in India, at the global level. We have to collaborate, we have to work with related industries, related institutions, so that the collective efforts can get us results, faster results, and we will be able to transform the lab research into the product with the help of the industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jindaregi, for sharing your ideas on how to strengthen this, how to achieve the goal of 280 gigawatts as part of solar mission. The next question is to Dr. R.K. Malhotra. As a president of Hydrogen Association of India, we are working closely to achieve the objectives of National Green Hydrogen Mission, so that the production and also export of green hydrogen can take place with a good pace. So as part of your travel and meeting with people and discussing various things to achieve this ambition of National Green Hydrogen Mission, have you come across any fundamental ideas which are part of our traditional practices in our daily lives, our community level practices, which can help in achieving the goals of this National Green Hydrogen Mission? Kindly share your insights.
Thank you. In the National Green Hydrogen Mission, now the government has a target of producing 5 million tons of green hydrogen by 2030. And for this, we will need 125 gigawatt of renewable power. Now, we talk about traditional science. solar energy is known for ages, and now the focus is to improve the efficiency. Professor Satpathy is working on improving the efficiency for the skies, etc. I think those kind of technologies are needed. To talk that only the ancient science or traditional ways of working will help. I feel that the modern science, technology and knowledge which we have acquired over these years must be combined with the basic science. The process of electrolyzers was known for ages. We know that water contains hydrogen, which can be a fuel, but you need energy to split that water into hydrogen and oxygen. Now for that you need energy. Traditionally we have been knowing things. We know that the photosynthesis process is known for ages, that the tree plants leaves, they absorb CO2 and release oxygen, which is vital for the survival of man. Can we develop photosynthesis, artificial photosynthesis leaves? Artificial leaves, you will solve the problem of CO2 reduction. Talking about hydrogen, coming back to that, we know that the biogas is known for ages. Cow dung being put into one waste, put into, and then you have biogas, and which was used for in the farmhouses for running motors, pumps also initially. Now whether that biogas can be used in engines, it was inefficient. Now we are combining it with modern science. We are purifying it. We are now using the compressed biogas, CBG what we call, and replacing the natural gas which is a fossil source. So combining the basic science knowledge which we had and the learnings which we have all these years, it would be wrong in my view to say that simply we should follow the traditions and do things as our forefathers used to do 100 years ago, 150 years ago. No. We have learned a lot from that, and we must learn, we must look at that, but put into practice and our own knowledge and experience which we have learned. That can improve the efficiency. That can solve the problems. Now, nobody knew we used to burn, wood for firewood for cooking. Now, if you say no, we should do ancient ways, then you will be cutting trees. Now you know that the trees are so important. You can't be cooking. We have been having drives. I come from the oil industry background. We had a drive that we must stop this cooking with, it is unhealthy for the poor ladies in the kitchens, that you put firewood, they waste a lot of time in cutting, trees and for collecting that wood for the cooking, which is unhygienic for them also, and we tried to replace that with LPG. But now whether that can be replaced with some kind of compressed biogas, we can use that as piped natural gas. Now we are talking about solar farms. Somebody talked in the morning panel about solar farm, or creating village. Now can we have village where we will have solar panels, we can produce hydrogen, we can have fuel cells, we can generate power, we can use directly solar cooking was also mentioned, that we have stoves. Now this traditional things combined with modern science can deliver a lot of things. Compressed biogas can be used for production of hydrogen. Now that is not possible with the ancient knowledge. We know the process of reforming. In our refineries we reform natural gas to produce hydrogen. Somebody talked about colors of hydrogen, grey, blue and all. I don't want to get into that. Now if we use that compressed biogas, reform it with the knowledge which our chemical engineers have acquired, we can convert that to hydrogen in a much cheaper way as compared to electrolyzer, because somebody talked about green hydrogen prices and all. Green hydrogen is more expensive. If you produce it from compressed biogas, it is cheaper. You do biomass gasification. You have been burning this biomass, causing all the pollution. Nobody knew that we were burning this biomass and using it in our farms for farming and using it as a fertilizer. All that causes pollution. A lot of CO2 gets into the global warming factor. Now we have that knowledge. So why not use that knowledge, combine it with our ancient science and knowledge what our predecessors had, our forefathers had, and do that. Biomass gasification is a good way of producing low-cost nitrogen. You will solve the problem of barali burning, pollution, and all those kind of things which we see in town world. You will reduce the CO2 consumption, CO2 generation also. Coming on to something about which I am passionate is that we must use our own, as a nationalist, as a countryman. We talk a lot about hydrogen or other fuels. We are large importers of oil and natural gas. 80% of our dependence on oil, natural gas 50% we depend on imports. Now can we do coal gasification? We have large reserves of coal. Now people say don't talk about coal. Coal is untouchable. It is causing a lot of pollution. Why not look at coal gasification? Produce hydrogen from there and capture that CO2 and convert it into chemicals. We have that knowledge. So use your own resources, use your own basic ancient science, knowledge, combine it with modern technologies. If you burn coal, you will cause a lot of CO2 and particulate emissions. But if you have today the knowledge of collecting that particulate, fly ash, somebody was talking in the morning, that all that pollution can be collected and CO2 can be converted to useful fuels and chemicals. The circular economy, etc. will also happen. So I think the bottom line which I would like to say is that in whatever way you want to use, the ancient science alone cannot solve today's. We can't construct houses with mud, and if you put wooden series, you will be cutting your forests. So you have to learn from that science, but put into practice your modern engineering knowledge base and technologies which we have developed all these years, and then we will be a better society. That's my
Thank you so much for highlighting the importance of learning from the past and also applying the present day advancement in science and technology for a better future. The next question is to SK. He is the CEO of Hydrocarbon Sector Skill Council. So net zero carbon emission is one of the important aspects for the sustainable economic growth and also energy independence. So based on your experience, can you share what kind of knowledge we can learn from the natural cooling technologies? Whether is it possible to scale up? And after learning, is it possible to implement in the present era so that it can certainly contribute to the economic development? So kindly share your ideas.
Thank you, Professor Anil. Respected co-panelists and professors here from IIT Roorkee, students. It's a great opportunity for me, and I compliment Professor Sumitra for choosing a very contemporary subject. Let me tell you first what is Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan is eternal and Dharma is law. So this is eternal law. So we are following this eternal law for ages, and we know that if you don't follow the rule or law, what will happen? So this is an ancient law, as good as 12,000 years. People say it is 90,000 years old, but I think at least 12,000 years old. So we have been following it, and if you see that if you believe as Hindu, if you believe in rebirth, then we know that we have been born again, maybe 7 times or 9 times, we don't know. Then we have to keep our resources intact for the new generation, maybe for us also. So now, before coming to cooling effect, let me tell you a few examples. I had been to Canada in 2010 as a part of UNDP delegation. It is on energy management. One company in Canada called Interface, they make carpet. Canada is a cold country, and they everywhere you find carpet in office, home, in drawing room, bathroom, everywhere carpets are there. Carpets are in terms of tiles also. So what they do, every 3 years they recycle the carpets, they pick up the carpets, tiles or in big size and recycle in their factory and bring back to the fixing them in the office or home. So these companies don't do any advertisement. They say on single line, whatever we take from Mother Earth, we want to give it back. Let me repeat it, whatever we take from Mother Earth, we give it back. So this is the tagline of the company. The company never number one company in Canada, and they have presence in US and Australia. 70% of market share is in Canada. So what does that mean? They use resources very tactfully, very you can say optimized way. They use that point of time, 2010, they use only gas, natural gas as a source of miscellaneous fuel for burning their boiler. There is no diesel, no furnace oil. This is the way they used to operate. So coming to the next example, we talk about EV. EV is a sustainable model. I agree. Partly I don't agree. Because EV is electric vehicle. You say you need battery. You are not using fossil fuel. So it is a you are not using diesel or petrol to run your car. So you are not using anything resource from Mother Earth. So electric vehicle, of course, we are using other source of energy like lithium from Mother Earth. But now EV, electric vehicle, you are charging at location at home at charging stations, but the charging power is from fossil fuel, maybe from coal or electricity. So this is not EV, this is EV. EEV, this is emission elsewhere vehicle. You are running this EV in Bombay, Calcutta or Chennai or in Delhi. You are not emitting, but you are emitting elsewhere when the power station is there. Is it coal power station or any other power station? It is not certainly sustainable power. If you run maybe 10 EV in Roorkee, Roorkee campus, if the charging from solar power, then only it is a sustainable model. Really is EV. So charging should be from solar power. So that model is not yet implemented. Second is, again I am taking an example of Montreal. There is a big hotel, I think 200 rooms. We have visited that. So whatever leftover food is there in the hotel, it's a large hotel with 200 rooms, every day waste material comes. They process the same leftover in the hotel itself and send it to the piggeries or eateries. It is a food for the pigs. So this is how they maintain the sustainability. We throw in some other place and try to locate and identify and then process. No. The hotel has the responsibility to process it and send it to the piggeries. This is the models where we should think of. I must compliment our Madam Speaker. She told very beautifully. Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Modi wants that we should be a developed nation by 2047. When we talk about developed nation, we cannot only think of sustainability. We have to see that we are also a developed nation. So for development, growth is a must. I agree to Professor that growth is important because without growth, only we talk about sustainability, we will be left behind. Today we are 3.5 trillion economy. We may go to 30 trillion economy, maybe 50 trillion economy, as Professor Krishna told in one of the conference in his book that India has a potential to grow up to 55 trillion by 2047. Here is his logic. He is currently in area of IMF. So if we want to grow, so we need development. So development, let me coming from oil industry background, let me tell you some energy index. Coal is very important to India. India is the largest storage of coal. It is more than $380 billion, 380 billion tons of coal reserve India has. So India this year, India surpassed 1 billion ton production. I think 75% India is producing and 25% they are importing. 1 billion ton of coal were consumed in India. So coal is very important. Dr. Malhotra told how we will utilize the coal is a bad energy they say, but coal can be coal restriction, you can get hydrogen out of it. And CO2 of course you can capture. Next comes the you can say crude oil. 89% of crude oil is imported. So coal 60%, 30% is fossil fuel, energy basket, 7% is gas, the rest is renewable. So out of 100%, all we are depending on Mother Earth, we are extracting. So where sustainability comes from? So if we want to be sustainable, India still lives in villages. We have to go to the villages and look for where the energy source comes from. This comes from powder, this comes from agriculture waste. Now, Government of India, you know that compressed biogas is coming around 5,000 CBG plants will be there by 2030. A lot of private sector, public sector, including Reliance, they are putting up this compressed biogas. That will give a good solution to the tier 1, tier 2 and metropolis for processing their waste and get fuel from it. So that is one of the solutions. But let me come to the basic questions which the professor has told, that cooling. Cooling, last year I went to Ladakh, University of Ladakh. We have seen they have built some of the innovators. They have built houses using local mud and straws. Houses, the bricks are 1 feet by 2 feet, and they built houses there where the inside temperature is 17 degree, outside temperature is 2 degree. During summer, cooling effect is there. During winter, the hot room temperature is hot. So these are sustainable models available with local resources. Similarly, you talk about cooling system. You have very good matka system of cooling water that is there. It is prevalent in villages. You go to the roadside and small villages, you find still there. They don't need air conditioners. So these systems are prevalent. It is there. If you follow the Sanatan Dharma, natural resources they follow this because natural resources are very limited. They wanted that same resources which are readily available, like sun. Sun, we pray like God. Because one is sun, one is somebody told water, one is earth, one is Agni, that is fire, one is air. So let me briefly talk about, with your permission, just 2 minutes to explain how it will utilize. Sun has got all power. There was a statistics I just want to refer. If you use the sun power continuously to make energy like solar panel, 1 hour energy resources from sun can lighten up the entire world for 1 year. If you store that energy, such potential is there. I believe in sun god because I think there is a, I will not disclose the source, but there is a principle called Roorkee. That is a primitive way of healing a person. Roorkee system believes in sun god. They say sun has got cosmic energy. The cosmic energy you tap from the sun and pass through the 5 chakra, and you preserve that power from sun god, and you apply to anybody to heal. That system you can search in Google, you find that. I am a strong believer of Roorkee. I also practice a little bit, and through Roorkee you can heal a person. These are the ancient systems which are available. So sun has tremendous power. Then comes earth. Top soil of 1 meter of earth is very important. It is getting eroded because if you are using fertilizer and other sorts of things, that productivity of the soil is going down. So top 1 meter soil of the earth, how to preserve that? You need manure like you can say cow dung, etc. earlier which has been used to you can fertilize the soil. The same system you can derive. Again, this is from Sanatan Dharma. Air is readily available. How you can use air? Your wind energy. Today, out of 500 gigawatt, the target given by Honorable Prime Minister by 2030, 100 gigawatt, 110 gigawatt comes from wind energy. Rest around 260 will come from, I think around 67 or 70 gigawatt comes from the solar. So a lot of potential is there in wind energy. So wind is power, how you can utilize. Because you are scientist, you can do it differently. Water. Water, water is very important. You develop a lot of project on dam project, which is very, you can say, this is a very sustainable energy, this is a clean, this is green energy, and the power of Ma Ganga. You have seen the recent grand success of this Kumbh Mela, and that is the power. Somebody told that with bottle of water, this is a business model for using the bottle of water, taking Ganges from Ganges. But if you can take from other cost, it is a challenge. But if you can do it, next Kumbh Mela is coming in 27. you can try that. You have to create a model which is very hard enough to hold the water, unbreakable model. So then you can replace this. If you are using this, you are replacing wood indirectly. Because plastic has importance of replacing the wood. So last is fire. Fire, hydrogen is tremendous fire. Green hydrogen, which Dr. Malhotra is president of National Green Hydrogen Association of India. So green hydrogen, lot of research is going on. And once the green hydrogen becomes cheaper, around $2, India will be a forefront in technology. IT is doing a lot of research, I know that. So these five, Sanatan Bharat, we talk about the natural resources. These are sacred rules. If you work on this, the natural resources will not be consumed, rather it will be utilized for purpose. You can achieve the sustainability. That is the real dharma, and you can use the technology to convert these rules and create sustainable model for energy. Rather than what you take from Mother Earth, you cannot rebuild. You are taking crude, you cannot rebuild it. You are taking coal, you cannot rebuild. You are taking you can say for lithium, you cannot replace it. So think of something which you can replace and use it properly. Using the technology and with innovation, you can do wonders. So cooling, lot of other alternative methods are there. It is not always you have to use refrigerator or cooling system or air conditioning. The earlier already told by honorable speaker, you can have a wall which is differently built, and that in parliament, old parliament, there is no air conditioner. I don't believe that air conditioner is there, and it is cooling. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bose, for interpreting dharma in terms of sustainability and what practices which are required. And I also shared some problem statements. I am sure the Center for Sustainable Energy will be seriously taking it. The development of pods kind of thing, replacing the water bottles with made plastic, you can carry easily. And also arranging the visits of students to some of these places where natural cooling technologies are already available. So now, because the questions to individual panelists are over, there is a common question to everyone in the panel. So Dr. Tanujan, so please share what kind of knowledge information you would like to emphasize which can be considered by the present generation. Now we could see a lot of students in this auditorium. So based on your experience, while then this academics and the research domain, there is academics and the research domain. So from this, from your experience of land management and other architectural experience, so from traditional practices, what is the information which you would like to share with the present generation?
I think we are sitting here in a very special place where all of you are going to make buildings which is going to last forever. That's what we want. अगर आपने देखा हो तो FRI जैसे देखा हो, so FRI is still standing tall, and the new buildings which are coming up are not that sturdy that the old times had. So few traditional things that come to our mind is like the use of lime and mortar was done in construction of buildings. When we visit these old ancient places, then we get to see that what all material they used to take for the construction and which was very long lasting. Keeping in mind, so I happened to visit Thiruvananthapuram in Kerala. So I can see few faces light up because they are from Kerala. So there I found near the temple complex, the king's palace was there, and all of that was made in a way कि अगर हम धूप में चल रहे हैं तो हमारे पैर नहीं जल रहे हैं. Very small things but really made a difference, and we could actually notice. So what all material they used to use in building construction and all. Second thing is that few very simple things. आज हम गृह रेटिंग की बात करते हैं, but in Nalanda University, if you go back to those times and you happen to visit Bihar sometime, then you will see कि buildings were made keeping in mind the light part of it. कि चारों तरफ से लाइटेड हो, वहाँ पर सोलर एनर्जी भी आ रही हो, सन दिख रहा है, वहाँ पर प्रॉपर वेंटिलेशन है, उसके लिए जालियाँ होती थी. So when we come back to Rajasthan and we see palaces in Jaisalmer, Jodhpur and other places, then we find that jali work is there for proper air flow. So these are few things that like Professor emphasized what are the traditional things that we must keep in mind. Adding to the traditional thing, I would also say that few local things which are easily available to us can be used as construction materials, which are sturdy. We can think of making them sturdy, sustainable and long lasting. For example, the use of bamboo in Northeast. It is very, very prevalent that since they have so much bamboo, so they use bamboo in construction also. And now I think I was just going to the newspaper one of the days and I found in Germany somebody had made utensils out of these leaflets and everything. We are now not able to formalize in India in that fashion what they are doing in Germany. So I think these are few things कि हम अपनी चीज खुद ही नहीं कर पा रहे. So this is something that we should think upon and contemplate. So how we can make it systemized. वो दिखाने के लिए 1, 2, 3, 4 souvenir is not good, but we have to get that in our way of life. So nowadays, for very simple things like cooking food and eating in proper utensils. तो अब जो जितना advance हो रहा है, they are going back to the roots. So people have started using mud plates and mud cookers, मट्टी के बने हुए cookers, उसमें खाना बना रहे हैं, उसमें चावल बना रहे हैं. And I tell you, super elite is switching on to it. मतलब हम लोग normal उसमें जा रहे हैं, but as we are advancing, so we are going back to the roots. हाथ से खाना खाना और मिट्टी के बर्तन यूज करना, मिट्टी का यूटेंसिल में जैसे गर्मियाँ हैं तो उसमें पानी पीना. So these are very small things that we can obviously inculcate in our life, but it should be systemized. जैसे you are all very intelligent brains who are sitting here. So if you can see those concepts कि आपके local area में क्या चीज़ है जो हम formalize करके we can come up with ideas. Maybe few people who are sitting here, maybe you turn up in a unicorn with those simple ideas, because all of you know it is just about ideas and scaling it to a level that we can actually make things work for the entire global society. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jain. So, Dr. Vijay, so kindly share with us, especially with present generation, so regarding clean energy. So, what kind of information you would like to share with them?
Yes, I would like all of, not only students, all of us to participate in this movement, sustainable energy in Sanatan Bharat. Through your contribution towards responsible consumption, production, collaboration and circular economy. So when I say all these 4 or 5 elements, these are the key elements which can help us to protect this environment. When I say responsible consumption, you have to use your energy, electricity, etc. in a very responsible manner. When I say production, you should find out the ways to produce energy or which products or resources, which products or environment, which products or air that is essentially needed for us to survive. It protects the water which is essentially needed for us to survive, and then soil. When I talk about doing something for production, it means we have to work hard through our own efforts, through collaboration, so that we achieve the target of development. When I talk about the circular economy, what I mean is that whatever we produce, we generate for performing certain output, that material after consumption is recycled and it is used again for some end product. For example, if I talk about solar photovoltaic module, after expiry of its life, say for example 20 or 25 years, that material should be recyclable. It should be used for some meaningful activity, or if it is silicon, can be used as a development of electrode for using in energy storage systems. Like that, that we need to work for innovation, and we need to work for development of industries which do not pollute our environment. We need to work for promoting clean energy so that we are able to save our planet Earth, and we are able to contribute to protect our environment which is there for our generations. So this is what I would like to say. And finally, consumption, in terms of consumption in anything. Consumption means electricity consumption, in terms of water consumption. Someone talked about minimum clothes, So I don't want to say that one or two dresses are sufficient for each of us to be dependent on. But what I intend to say that we need not to have so many dresses, because if you have so many dresses, it will consume more water for cleaning. So we need to have some optimum solutions so that we do not put extra burden on our Mother Earth. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Abhi. So when present generation is trying to understand what are the various steps to achieve Viksit Bharat in 2047. And from the past, we have several good points to take forward, and many directions are also now coming up in a clear way. So what kind of information you would like to pass to the present generation to achieve the Viksit Bharat?
See, the present generation needs to, it has been said already, I don't want to stand between the lunch and this, but just two or three points that saving, conservation, dresses, etc., I think switching off light, etc. Research needs to be focused upon a few things. When we are talking about sustainable energy, renewable energy, we know that लेंस होता था, उसको कागज चलाते हुए बच्चों ने एक्सपेरिमेंट, I don't know how many of you would have done in your childhood. You keep the lens at a certain height and then you keep a paper, it gets burnt. Why can't we have some kind of, we have done a lot of work on photovoltaics. A concentrated solar power has somehow been neglected. I would recommend to Professor Sarpati that maybe some serious work on concentrated solar power, generating enough of solar heat which can run heat engines, which can raise temperatures to an extent that we can split water into hydrogen, which can be used as a fuel. So all this knowledge is there, but fine-tune it, combining it with modern science, artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc. Use those tools to develop such products which can solve the problems of modern day. Second issue which I just wanted to flag was that the global warming is a big issue. We are all concerned about it, the carbon emissions. How to capture it and how to sequester it. People have been talking about fixing it underground, but I always believe that you must convert that CO2 into some useful chemicals, fuels and chemicals. So capture that, convert it into some fuels and chemicals, reuse it, then it will be getting into circular economy. CO2 can be even used when we were talking about buildings. The idea came to my mind that you can have CO2 with some kind of carbonates you can have some kind of carbonate materials which can be used in road construction, which can be used in building construction, rather than cement, etc., or the brick. So these are some of the things we must, I think young minds should think about themselves. So nothing more we have already said quite a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So the emphasis on development of the products to solve the real problems and also using CO2 for circular economy. Wonderful for pointedly passing the information. Now the last turn to Dr. SK Bose to share your insights on what kind of information you would like to pass to us.
So, not an information, just idea came to my mind. IIT Roorkee is famous for civil engineering department, structural engineering for since 50 years I think at least. Whenever there is an incident we are in civil department, civil engineering department, because whenever we had any problem, any structural problem, even in housing or in office or any new building, we were able to identify. So now the sustainable department is picking up very well. They have a place in India and abroad. So I want to give a challenge to the sustainability department that why not we replace this. I have nothing against this plastic bottle because it has got a value also. Why not we can use this local potteries, we tie up with local potteries and design something, sustainable glass bottle, and we can maybe in the next year or so, whenever such type of conference is there, a lot of IIT branding, a glass from potteries will be placed here. Rather than then one challenge of course, it may be a premium segment, it may be a use and throw type. So you can design, and what will happen, the local potteries who are handling, they will be benefited from this, their economy will grow, and if it is really sustainable, you can have a rich market reach. So why not try this? One scientist I remember from Germany, he said small is beautiful, why not start with small and make it big. So that is one way to innovate and create something new product that will give a very low investment but high return in the future. Thank you very much. Wonderful session, and I compliment all the panelists and all the team.
Thank you so much to all panelists, Dr. Sanatan, Dr. Viksit Bharat, Dr. Conclave, for sharing your wonderful ideas to the audience. And I again thank Professor Bharat for giving me this opportunity to participate as a moderator for this panel discussion. Over to that. Thank you so much.
I sincerely thank all our panelists for this thoughtful and inspiring discussion and taking up their valuable time to share their knowledge with all of us today. Now I would request Professor Anil to kindly present a memento to Dr. S.K. Bose. I would also request sir to please facilitate Dr. Tanu Jain with the memento. I would request sir to facilitate Dr. R.K. Malhotra with the memento. Now I would request Professor Anil to facilitate Dr. Videndra Negi with the memento. Also, I would request Professor Satpathy to facilitate Professor Anil Kaurishetty with the memento. Now I request Professor Satpathy to kindly conclude today's ceremony.
Very good afternoon, and we have come to the end of today's program. I must say that it was a very wonderful event, very brief and compact event. So today we have in the morning we witnessed a very good discussion by our honorable speaker, and then followed by we have these two eventful panel discussions where our panelists has shared their views on sustainable energy in Sanatan Bharat and what we can learn for making Viksit Bharat. So we got some key points from today's discussions. Basically there are always some good and always some bad. So while making a new India or developed India, we have to, while chasing for the development of the new technology, we can also look back and take some of the example of the ancient India and take some of these things for scaling, take some of this knowledge from the ancient India to improve upon our existing thought. It's not that everything we have to take it like that, or everything what we have discussed that is has to be followed by the present generation, but at least some of these things which we used to pursue, it is worth noting them, it's worth pondering upon them, and take some of these ideas to explore more. And as a science and engineering department, our major objective should be to promote ourselves in the high quality research in sustainable energy, whether it's a solar energy or hydrogen energy or battery or waste to energy. And it doesn't harm back to look back our old practices and our old culture to take out some of the ideas to move upon. So we'll make a minutes of this roadmap, what we have made this thing, and circulate with all our panelists and all the concerned people. And finally, I like to thank all the faculty members and students of Center for Sustainable Energy who have made this event possible. I like to request first all the volunteers to come to the stage who have been working for the last 2-3 weeks to make this event a successful. As you know that even for an event of 3 hours, it needs a lot of preparations, and it's really the students' team. Yeah. So Roorkee, Darshika, and Damini, Yukti, Shivani, can come to the stage, and Akash also. So very good, work by them. Yeah, and also a special thanks to Viksit. Viksit, you can come the stage because for arranging our chief guest and one of our panelists, Dr. Sudhani Jain, here today. So a special thanks to him. Some of the members from our group, Bhavna and Joy and Simanto and Manju, please come to the stage. So for your volunteering thing. It always, yeah, and Sisi and Manu also. Yeah, Sisi and Manu also. Please come. We know that we want to research, so from the morning to night, but this kind of activity always gives a separate age to become a good human being, to become a conflict person, which is needed to become a faculty, which is needed to become a scientist. So we encourage this kind of event, and a big round of applause for our volunteer team. Finally, I like to thank our sponsor of this program today, UNICEF Delhi, which has very kind enough to provide the financial sponsorship of today's event. And I like to also thank our director, Professor J.K. Pant, who has to leave the station because of some urgent work in Delhi. Professor E.P. Singh, the deputy directors, all the institute administrations, and all the other faculty members of the institutions and the students who made this event possible. I also like to thank all the panelists for spending their time in this hot summer day with their views, and I am sure that they got a good experience also interacting with the students and with our audience. With this, I like to thank you once again. We have a lunch waiting for you, and we don't want to, we are already late for the lunch, so please join the lunch. It's just adjacent to this room. And thank you, and I am sure that you all will go back with a good memory. Jai Hind.